Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Ba 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 ba. Yo. Here I am from another day. It's fucking Blue's Clues. Everything's perfect and nothing can go wrong. You're never gonna get older. You're never gonna get sick. And no one's ever gonna make a comment about your little pigtail curlicue dick. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Nobody's gonna say anything. They won't even notice. Toasty, comfy, ghosty. Welcome to the Buttersock Cult, my friend. You now have access to bonus content. I can't do no any more of the show. I was just watching. Just happy you're live. Well, good to see you. Good to see everyone. Girl veteran with the 5 big gifters to TMNT addict. He's addicted to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And to Elizabeth Knapp, Joseph Yan, Sarah Miller, Randine Basosa, you now have access to bonus content. And you can thank Girl Veteran for that. Thank you, Girl Veteran. Joel's hole is swole. Yeah, it was butthole day at the gym, so we were fucking killing it. I was just sitting on anything in sight. Just getting a maximum stretch. David De La Rosa with the 2 says, had a bad day at work, but you made my night. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, David, but I'm glad that you made it. I'm glad that you're alive for another day. You like the cool starting screen? Heck yeah. This is actually Space Goose who made this. Momo Teacup, what's poppin'? What is truly poppin'? That pootie tat. Watching last night's Masked Singer, so I'll be half listening. Oh, that's okay. What channel is Masked Singer on? NBC, CNN, Fox Family. Grandma from the internet, and a very friendly one with the 7 maple syrup dollars with some delicious cookies. Grandma, do you think you could make Canadian cookies with maple syrup in them? Do you think that's a possibility? And Michelle Bell with the 5. Says, rough day, but this makes it a little bit better for my nightly chores. Much love from Colorado. Thank you, Michelle. Hope things are going well for you in Colorado there. Thank you so much. Good to see you guys. Play the cult music. What's the cult music? Which one's that? Are you going to do ghost stories again? You know, I definitely am. It's going to be for some bonus content, though, just because people aren't too interested in ghost stories the way that they are the true scary stuff. And even true crime doesn't really do as well as I feel it could, because the most recent video related to evil men, it didn't do too well. Wart. So that was kind of sad. Sakanakoshi with the 5 says, love you, Joel. Hope you had a good stream tonight. Hope you have a good stream tonight. Better than last night's, at least. Yeah, sorry. I was thinking about that. I got a little bit heated. But at least we didn't end up on live stream fails. That would have been so embarrassing and not totally planned. Jacob Bowling, the man, the myth, the King of Kings. Welcome back for 15 months. As I'm going to take my wife Stephanie to the mountains for vacation for our wedding anniversary. My unborn twin daughters' names are Michelle and Ashley. All right. Got them figured out. Well, I'm happy for you, Jacob. That sounds like a nice little anniversary vacay. And BB Jean 8817, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content, which is on the bonus content playlist. If you guys have green next to your name, be sure to check that out if you ever get a chance. And yeah, there's going to be some new bonus content out for May this Saturday. It's going to be a 20 to 30 minute philosophy video that I think you guys are all going to really enjoy. And even though it's not necessarily like true scary stories or anything of that nature, I think the discussions within it, kind of going over like fear and things like that, I think will tantalize your minds. If you had the opportunity, would you guest appear on Mr. Ballin's? Yeah, for sure. That'd be freaking cool. Geeky Thingy with a 3. Thank you, Geeky. And Toasty Comfy Ghosty with a 5 says, thank you for getting me through hard work nights, my cats, and I love listening to you. Thank you, Toasty. I'm glad to hear that. I hear many, many pets enjoy falling asleep to this. You were just listening to Mr. Ballin? Nice. How's he doing? I sadly don't really keep up with a lot of people's content within the sphere of, well, really just YouTube in general. I feel like I'm not like a super devoted fan to any particular fandom of content. I tend to just sort of like click on random things suggested if it seems interesting, if it's going to take me somewhere. Though I do listen to a lot of the French Whisperer, but that's just because he knocks me out with his voice. His sultry tones. I have to start listening to you again. I used to all the time. Need to again more often. Yeah, welcome back into the fold. You're always welcome. Check out Leon Lush. What are they about? The video that got me into Mr. Ballin was his Ryan Whaler video. Interesting. What's that all about? Yeah, I guess having 1 million subscribers, you kind of have a little bit more clout for a collaboration. I just don't really know, because I've like reached out to him and Mr. Nightmare before. Never got a response. It's no big deal, because I mean, you know, there's no like net benefit, I guess, overall sometimes reaching out about those particular things. And unless we met in a more like cordial sense, would it ever really make much sense to like promo somebody else? You know, and I can't really think of anything that I could like, I don't have any like cool trinkets or, you know, suits of armor that I could give to him for a collector's item for a collaboration. So that exchange of goods may not be blatantly clear, you know. Favorite horror story topic, hide and seek. Do I have any hide and seek stories on my channel? I actually don't know if I've ever read any of those before. I remember Mr. Nightmare had some related to that. I could give him my soul, yes. Mr. Ballin, please absorb my ethereal essence and allow me to garner 50 additional subscribers. And potentially some hate. No, I'm just kidding. Thank you for keeping me company and work. These Amazon packages can't deliver themselves. It's true. And I've got many, many on the way. So don't shake them too hard or they might explode. I've got some chemicals that I've desired for a while. Start petitioning Mr. B to collab with Joel. That'd be cool. I mean, I don't know exactly how. Maybe you guys can brainstorm how we would collab. Like what would be like the... I mean, the one thing that I think would be useful for him is that I often employ the assistance of others as well as you guys for stories, obviously, but I employ others for the true crime research, and he does a lot of true crime stuff. So whenever I can't get enough stories to fill in certain topics, I'll fill it in with some true crime research topics, and I think I could do that for him for free, and then we could do a particular topic that he might see as useful or something. So Stephanie Bowling with the 2. Thank you, Stephanie. And Mega with the 10 says, hey Joel and chatters. Joel, I have a professional animator and musician for my new work you gotta chat with, yo. I think you share the same dreams of creating your own studio. Tell him to hit me up. You already know what it is. But thank you for the 10, Megan. I appreciate you making those connections. Toasty Comfy Ghosty with the 5 says, the Ryan Waller case was his girlfriend was pewed and the police blamed him, even though he had 4 shells in his head from a break-in at their apartment. Oh my god, that's weird. So did it turn out to be the police or something like that, for the police to pin it on him? That's a little strange. Do more Asian horror stories. Guess what? Actually, J Horror, we're actually working together on another Japanese horror stories, true scary stories that he's translated from, compiling scary stories from Japan. So I think those will be really sick. Hey, Papino Dolce with the 10. Says, yo, Joel, how art thou? Hope all is well. Just got promoted to executive production chef at the hotel I work at, so that's cool. Keep banging out the awesome videos. I do enjoy the polished, edited ones, but I kind of dig the live streams more sometimes. Yeah, I think the live streams are just kind of like, they're more informal. We can kind of dig into some topics a little bit more and discuss them a little bit more openly. You kind of get to know me a tad bit, But congratulations, Pepino, on the promotion. That's freaking sick. You can be like Chef Ramsay, and you got one big ladle that you have to spank everybody with if they get out of line. I think that's what Chef Ramsay does. That's like his most important responsibility as head chef. But Pepino, thank you again for the 10. Appreciate you. Good to see you. And Elizabeth Knapp with the 5. Thank you, Elizabeth. You need to hear Pradeep. Make sure he exists. Well, he's not down here right now, but maybe I'm sure he'll sense his presence being beckoned at any moment here. Japan is okay, but if you look into the other Asian ones like Vietnam or Thai, they are super scary. Yeah, those, yeah, for sure. I don't know if I have specifically Vietnam, but actually I'm not sure if I've been to those regions here on the channel. How does one find people to help with research? Just, writers, like typical writers, but like they're also capable of understanding the concepts of true crime. You know what I mean? They're consumers of true crime. They enjoy it and they understand the sort of linguistics that go along with how you present true crime stories. And they do the research and present it in a sort of narrative form that feels intriguing, Do any hospital or nurse Goyle's stories? Perhaps at some point. Any nurses out there, please do send your stories in. Hanny Dreams, what's up? Timeline Masters. Got the good word from my oncologist to say so far I'm cancer-free for 23. Nice, Elvis. Congrats. That's crazy. I didn't even know you were dealing with that. Did that stalker that emailed ever respond to the Philadelphia video? I don't think so. I don't recall getting anything additional, but sometimes when you block emails, you just don't see stuff anymore. So who knows if there's... I don't know. Sometimes people make new stuff too. But a lot of messages and shit that I get filtered, and I just don't really give a shit about looking at them because I feel like there's a reason they get filtered. How's space? It's good. It's cold up here. Thankfully, I don't have any skin. You want some chocolate chip cookies so bad, but I start eating healthier and lose weight. Yeah, really. I mean, losing weight's tough, honestly. I told you my current cutting process for, lifting and shit. It's like I do my days of lifting, but then, my orientation related to my diet mainly is just primarily protein and then mixed berries for like the carbohydrates and the fruit. But I mean, there's other shit that macronutrients in there as well, but carbohydrates are pretty inessential, and they oftentimes are the quickest ones to be stored as, well, it gets stored in your liver, glycogen, and if there's too much of that in there, it's like, all right, well, let's go to the next thing and store in your fat cells and shit, So, and a lot of it's hormonally activated, it seems. At least, I don't know. There's a lot more that hormones play into it as opposed to just calorie counting. So that's why people are incorporating like intermittent fasting and fasting days, you know what I mean, where you finish your last meal on Saturday and maybe you don't eat Sunday, all of Sunday going into Monday. And just that period of time where your insulin is at its like lowest low, it's like sending signals to your body to start using your fat stores for, energy. Because that's really all fat is just like endless potential energy, depending on how much you have. But, making that transition away from the addiction of sugar, it's hard. But I find that, like, if you can get, like, healthy alternatives, like mixed berries, crazy good. It tastes so sweet. And especially if you do frozen ones and then let it sit out in the fridge, thaw for a night. In the morning, it tastes like fucking, like, ice cream. But it's not, like, bad. And Toasty, comfy ghosty with the 5 says, I know I'm sending a bunch. Ryan Waller case, it was a former roommate and the roommate's father that broke in. Oh, okay. Why does that sound oddly familiar? And no worries about sending in messages. I'd like to always get to them. But that one sounds really familiar. Plan on doing any stories related to voodoo or the Louisiana culture? I feel like I have at some point, but I don't think... I remember a whole stream just like getting caught on the word Louisiana. Like it just didn't sound right and my head started to break. I fast when I typically do OMAD, 1 meal a day. Some people help me, some to help put me in ketosis and the cellular benefits. Yeah, autophagy, breaking down cells that are essentially getting reused. It's crazy shit, like the science that goes in, or the science of fasting. And Stephanie Bowling with the 10 says, Jacob just named our unborn twins. I'm excited about going to the mountains for 2 weeks. I have to get to bed so I can get up early to go on my 2-week mountain vacation. All right, Stephanie. Thank you. Good to see you and have fun. I worked with a dietitian nutritionist and they highly do not recommend fasting. Wonder why. Because your hormones do really play into it. Wonder what their aversion to fasting is. There's been a ton of studies breaking down the benefits of fasting. I mean, maybe if you're just starting out or something, it might make you have some sort of rebound hunger that makes you eat a bunch. But I mean, obviously, it's going to be a degree of discipline that plays into it. You almost forgot I was going to stream today. Well, I'm glad you're here. We got 10 more seconds, and we're going to kick off these stories. We got 15 stories tonight. Some muscle digestion. Actually, I don't know. A lot of the fasting stuff that I've read about is that when fasting, a lot of the time you don't want to do it for a wild, extended period of time, but for that 24 to 48 hours. And then especially, during intermittent fasting, your body is naturally inclined towards muscle sparing, so it goes after fat because of the evolutionary science behind the fact that, when we're out there hunting for food and shit, if we immediately went to our muscles, we would essentially not have the strength to kill whatever it is we're trying to kill or chase after and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and you produce HGH during the fasting period as well at the 20-hour mark, and just something to look into. I mean, I'm not saying you have to jump into it right away, but definitely something worth doing some peeking and looking. Dive into the scrolls of the old library. Alright, friends, let's kick this off, shall we? Once again, that was, well, not once again. It's the first time I'm telling you. Lo-Fi for Astronomers. Stress relief playlist. Mellow tunes on the Dream Hop YouTube music channel. It's the what'd you say? Dietitian's argument? Where was it? No worries. I mean, you're definitely going to see success with counting calories too, but it's just, I'm just having success and feeling good. I mean, I'm also like giving my muscles stimulus with like lifting as well. So if I were to do fasting on a Sunday or something, I'm sure there's a degree of involvement in the fact that my muscles are previously stimulated from working out to generate the idea of muscle sparing whenever losing weight. When you're feeling a little bit more healthy, you can exercise more. Yeah, absolutely. Don't force yourself into it. You like the screen too? Nice. Something pleasant about the underwater world. Master Yoda, welcome back for 3 months. His gifting challenge gauntlet has now been thrown. Time to get into the gifting spirit. Oh shit. I'm scared. I'm scared. But it is the perfect time. We got new boner content coming. Well, a lot of people say that term like starvation mode, but it's not quite, like the reality of it is not quite as simplistic as one might think. May the 4th be with you. I wish I could get excited about Star Wars Day, but all the Star Wars have kind of sucked lately, so I just don't really care. Started running for the first time after a bad breakup and successfully completed a couch to 5K training program and ran a Stanford 5K with Mark Zuckerberg. Nice, dude. That's awesome. That is fucking cool. Couch to 5K. I mean, that's what's crazy about the human body. It can make huge jumps in short periods of time, and all you just got to do is want it. You just got to want it. Toasty Comfy Ghosty with a 1 gifter to Elvis. Press play. And Master Yoda with a gifted membership. 2. Luana Marlowe. Thank you, guys. Thank you. And Buttersock Cult Prophet with the 10 says, Joel, the chat has been asking for the Buttersock Cult Council reunion with you, the King of Kings, and Maribel. Soon, Jacob may have a new threat to his throne as a sexbot giant may challenge Jacob. A sexbot giant? Holy Christ. It's got turrets and its boobs. How have I been? I've been good. I've been super, super good. Just cruising. Being thankful every day for what I have. I lost 10 pounds. Keep going. All right. In the early 20s, I landed a receptionist job in a sales office at a manufactured housing community. It was my first office job after working in daycare in the food and drink industry. I was excited. I greeted potential buyers, set up appointments, and staged the spec homes with our stock of furniture and decorations. I worked with one other person in the office who was the salesman. When he was out of the office, I took potential buyers through our spec homes and gathered their information for follow-up. I was working alone one day when a customer came into the office looking to potentially purchase his first home. I gathered some information from the young man and asked if he would like to look at some spec homes. As we walked down the sidewalk toward the row of spec homes, we chatted about the various floor plans and finishes available. I knew the product information and had no trouble confidently answering his questions. He was friendly and reminded me of a classmate from high school that had played offense on the football team. I decided to show him the 2 home models that best fit his price range and desired floor plan. Since I shared most of the technical information during the first home tour, I gave him some space to freely look around the second home. He walked through the main living area and stopped in the doorway to one of the back bedrooms. He called out, "Hey, what's this back here?" and pointed to the corner of the room that I couldn't see from where I was standing. I knew these floor plans by heart, so I politely answered that it was a closet. In my mind, I was sarcastically thinking, "Really? You don't know what a closet is?" He chuckled and asked again, "No, really, come here. What is this back here?" I could tell by his tone that he was pressuring me to come see for myself. He motioned for me to come closer and take a look. His tone was friendly, but his requests just didn't make sense, so I paused. And in that split second, something shifted. Maybe it was the energy in the air, the hairs on my neck standing straight up, or the way his eyes changed before me. I suddenly sensed the power dynamic had shifted, and I didn't feel safe. With all the light-heartedness that I could muster, I repeated, "Oh, it's a closet. Excuse me for a moment, I need to check on something outside." I quickly made my exit back to the sidewalk outside the house. I had no concrete reason why I felt the overwhelming need to leave the house immediately. I didn't understand why my body sensed danger. I just knew that I needed to act quickly. Over the next few days, the young man came back to the office to meet with the salesman. He filled out all the various paperwork. A little bit of a decent role there. And Master Yoda with the gift or two, Susie Dunn, and also Elle with her being gifted as well. Welcome, friends, and thank you, Master Yoda. Appreciate you. It is kind of weird. I mean, out of all the information I've learned from these stories, the trust your gut thing is like super important. And it's almost like fascinating to the point where I almost feel as if though like there's something like evolutionarily built into women to have like a certain gut instinct that like when it comes to danger around them, that I'm trying to imagine how they would physically be able to sense certain things. I mean, obviously that was a bit of a strange aspect, but it almost makes you wonder if there's like some sort of psychical connection there from women, or if it's sort of like a pheromonal type thing, you know what I mean? Like this guy started just like shitting out danger pheromones out of his skin or something, and we haven't really studied that in depth to the point that we would understand why that is, but it's such a common phenomenon that it really does make me question. Toasty Comfy Ghosty with the 1 gifter to Miss Chris. And holy shit, Master Yoder. May the 4th be with you with 10 big gifters to William 4, Otachi Yeet, Chanel 2121, Depressed Turtle, Will Castro, Effin' Dawn, and Ghost Vision, your friendly internet grandma, Dan Miho, and Lilium. Welcome, my friends, to the Buttersock Cult, and be sure to thank the ever kind Master Yoda and Toasty Comfy Ghosty. Thank you, my friends, for the big gifters there. Thank you so much. 10 is a lot. Holy shit. That is very kind. You think most of the gut is storytelling and pattern recognition? Not everybody has it. You know, I definitely agree with that. There's probably that too. But it's just, and maybe, who knows, maybe the writers in these stories just so happen to have a sort of linguistic ability to sort of paint the gut feeling in a manner in which that feels almost like magical, you know what I mean? But in reality is just exactly that, just a subconscious pattern recognition. So that could totally be the circumstance, but me in my sort of, you know, science fiction-y desires kind of hope that it's something paranormal, you know? And Toasty Comfy Cozy with another gifter to Sid the Pink Squid ASMR. Thank you. Goodness. You guys are going off tonight. And Shanus, welcome back for a whole year. This is your 1 year anniversary. And the Buttersock Call says, yay, 1 year. Thank you, Shanus. Good to see you. Do I have a wife and kids? I do not, no. Perhaps one day. I sense a disturbance in the force. Maybe that's what it is. It's the literal force. It's the midichlorians tingling in their belly. He filled out all the various paperwork needed to purchase a home and live within the community. He dropped by several more times unannounced to check on his application status. If I wasn't there, he would ask the salesman when I worked next. My coworker thought that I had a not-so-secret admirer. I couldn't shake the overwhelming feeling something just wasn't right, so on the nights I worked alone, I locked the office door. A few days later, corporate sent back their analysis of the young man's application and completed background checked. Oops, checked. Yeah, I'm a cat dad, yeah. Well, thanks for being here, guys. Click that like button, click share, all that good stuff. And we keep cruising here. Hey, there's Galactic. What's up? A few days later, corporate sent back their analysis of the young man's application and completed background check. He had been denied. The background check revealed multiple assault convictions. I'm trying to think to avoid saying the word. Actually, let me ask. Maybe ChatGPT will allow it, but I feel like they always say, hey, so I can't say the word sex on my YouTube channel, so maybe you can help me think of different synonyms. Sure, I can certainly help with that. Here are some synonyms: intimacy, physical connection, lovemaking, sexual activity, relations, intercourse, bedroom fun. He had many bedroom fun convictions. Probably shouldn't say that. Horror on the rocks. Thank you for the gifter to Melissa Milgram. And Master Yoda with another 5. He really is on that gifter train. To Carrie Lang, Jazzy J, The Good Doctor, Don Worryabout, and Crimson Ghost. Thank you, thank you. ChatGPT is going to get a lot better. Just wait. I know, it's scary. It's both cool and scary, you know, like... Yeah, carnal activity. I've been kind of trying to break away from saying carnal, like carnal assault, because it just doesn't sound like... I don't know, it seems to upset people in the comments, so I don't really know. I'm trying to think, I feel like I said, maybe violating multiple people. I'll just like extrapolate. Hey, Buttersock called Prophet. Thank you for the 10. Says, when you look at Jacob's record against invaders, Jacob is 5-0, meaning Jacob has never lost to an invader, but the Sexbot Giant may be the greatest threat to Jacob's undefeated streak. Are you prophesying that there's going to be a giant entering, some sort of sexual robot entering into this chat to fight Jacob? Wrestling style in a cage match of sorts, electrified barbed wire cage match. Hey Jamie and Shanus, thank you for the 1 gifter. 2, see money baby. The background check revealed multiple assault convictions and violating multiple people. And there it was. Crystal clear, undeniable 20/20 hindsight. The salesman called the customer right away to let him know his application had been denied and that we could not do anything further for him. A few days later, the young man decided to come back to the office one more time. When my coworker saw the young man's vehicle in our parking lot, he told me to go to the back room of the office where I would be out of sight. And just like the times before, the young man entered the office asking if I was working. This time he was met by a very angry 6-foot salesman that had nothing to lose. I had never heard my coworker raise his voice before, but on that day his voice shook the office walls. Needless to say, the young man never came back again, and I wasn't scheduled to work alone nearly as often. But I still wondered to myself, what would he have done if I went to investigate his question earlier? Toasty, comfy, ghosty with the two says, how do I do the 1-year join thingy? Oh, like the membership thing? It should be, there's a big join button. And to get access to the bonus content and all that good stuff, it should be either on the desktop. I mean, some people say they struggle to see it on the mobile. I don't know if you're on mobile or not. But thank you, Toasty, for the 2. And Girl Veteran, thank you for the gifter to Jorge Abraham. Thank you, Girl Veteran. Welcome, Jorge. And Buttersalt Cult Prophet with the 5 says, what I'm saying is, the Sexbot Giant may do the impossible and beat Jacob and end his undefeated streak. Now hopefully this won't happen, but I'm scared. Jesus, I wonder if Jacob is shaking in his little cowboy boots right now. Danielle Courtney with the 5. Thank you, Danielle. Danielle, sorry. Thank you. So many new members. I know, it's crazy. Perfect timing, though. We got 2 more days, and I'll get that bonus stuff up for everybody, both on Patreon and on over here. And Raven, welcome to the Buttersalt Cult. You now have access to bonus content. And Thomas Fries with the 2 says, my daughter and I are listening. Thanks. You're welcome, Thomas. Good to see you guys. Hope you have a good time. Alright, friends. Story 2 of 15. We're going for the long haul tonight. This happened years ago when I was barely 14. My middle school and middle school of my best friend at the time organized a trip abroad to Great Britain, London to be exact. It wasn't to be a few days looking at London. It was supposed to be a few days looking at London attractions, museums, and shops, and it was fun. Until it wasn't. For the day before we were supposed to leave and go home, we were brought to the streets with some interesting shops. From there, we would see Golden Freddy, and we received free time for shopping. Wait, what? For the day before we supposed to leave and go home, we were brought to the streets with some interesting shops. Okay, I guess this person's probably not. Let me see, I'm probably gonna run this through chat BBC here. Can you fix this grammar? I can't imagine how that's gonna feel for like kids doing homework now who like use chat GPT. Like you won't even have homework anymore. You just have computers do everything, and which is going to be kind of bad, but yeah, Golden Freddy. I have no fucking clue who Golden Freddy. I'm just gonna skip that part because I feel like it's like foreshadowing something in like an inside joke sort of way, but like, you know what I mean? It's like foreshadowing something that we just don't know yet, but it's not really foreshadowing whenever it indicates like direct knowledge. Chat FNAF. Yeah, this is a FNAF story. It's gonna be horrible for critical thinking. It will be, yeah. But I guess we're just... The content may violate content policy. If you believe this to be an error, please... Oh, come on. Fuck off. It's so stupid. Whatever. We'll get there when we get there. But at least it did most of it. On the day before we were supposed to leave and go home, we were brought to some interesting shops. On the day before we were supposed to leave and go home, we were brought to some interesting shops and given free time for shopping. Then our teacher and guide had a brilliant idea. They told us that after the shopping time ended, that we had to meet at a different street. In retrospect, it was only about 100 meters away, but they still should not have done that. Most of us had never been to London, and we barely spoke English, and we didn't have a map of the city. Roaming services didn't work correctly either. 90% of the students got lost. My best friend and I got lost because we went in a completely opposite direction. We were both confused about the directions that we were given at the time. We were walking along the pavement. My friend was running ahead or staying behind to nervously look around. We didn't look like we were together because we were not interacting with each other, and I guess that's why this happened. My friend ran ahead and stopped to look around, and that's when I saw a black car approach me and match my speed. I started to feel like this was a scene from a movie. It was broad daylight, there were a lot of people around and no one reacted. I was confused and didn't know what was happening. Then a man stepped out of the car and said, "Oh, you're nice. Come with me." You are nice. You are nice. That's what someone said. Hello, you are nice. You are very nice. How about the AI generating music from deceased artists? I heard a Nirvana song that had AI created sound just like Kurt. Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like we're gonna get to that sort of situation soon with like holograms and shit like that, you know? Just have an entire show done by Kurt Cobain soon. Christine Baker with the 5 says, "Thank you for your live streams. You don't know how much it helps my soul." Oh, thank you, Christine. Appreciate that. And thank you for the 5. Good to see you. You saw a Rolls Royce in my apartment's parking lot today. I've never been inside one of those, but those have never really impressed me. You know what I mean? They're very expensive, but I've just always been curious. What is it under the hood and inside of it that makes it so expensive? Then a man stepped out of the car and said, "Hey, you look nice. Come with me," and tried to grab me. The car was still running, so I suppose someone was still in it. I was stunned and I didn't believe it was real. In the moment, my friend ran to me. At that moment, my friend ran to me from behind, grabbed me, and dragged me away. We ran and tried to lose any tail. Oh, I see. We ran and tried to lose any tail if a man or a car was following us. After some time, we stopped, and my friend nervously cried while shaking and screaming why I didn't move when the man tried to catch me. I explained my deer in headlights. I explained that I had a sort of deer in headlights type moment. We cooled down and managed to ask some people for help, and we were found by our teachers. We didn't tell anyone there what had happened, and we were sure no one would believe us. After that, when we got back, I told my parents, and I never went on a trip organized by my school again. My mom considered all of that really unprofessional and irresponsible. Wait, let's see if that's... Oh, I guess that was the end. Okay. That's weird. This may violate content policy. If you believe this to be an error, please submit your feedback. I don't really type in my content is erroneously flagged. I wish it would tell you what specifically was flagged. I hate that kind of shit. It's just so cringy. Alright, friends. Story 2 in the books. Hey, Colin. Oh my gosh, welcome back for 42 months in the Buttersock Cult. It says 6 more months. I'll get a skull, lol. Hashtag life goals. I'll also be a mom for the first time. If I have a girl or boy on Halloween, I'll name them Joel. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah, if it's a girl, you can do the Jewel. Jewel. Or I don't know how the girl version is spelled. But Colin, good to see you and congrats on almost being a mommy. That's awesome. And Toasty Comfy Ghosty, thank you for the gifter to Cat Queen White. Thank you, thank you. Just wanted to share some good news that I got today. I got accepted into an early college high school. Oh, okay, congrats. That's awesome. Yeah, Jolene, there you go. There you go. We need another Jolene. An early college high school. Okay, so I assume you get like credits or something by going to it, like that go towards college. That's awesome. Legalized meth. Yippee! Your daughter is also due on Halloween? Nice. Got a bunch of Halloween babies in the chat. It's weird, you get an associate's degree? Well, that's cool, though. I mean, I'm sure some of those credits will transfer to if you decide to go on for further education after that. So that's awesome. I know, like, some friends, they get a lot of their general eds done with, like, various schools that have credentials online and that kind of thing, and then they can kind of transfer to a larger university should they decide to. Or use those credits to do some other stuff. You also don't have to pay for the 2 years, so yeah, exactly. Any way that you can save money in college, even including not going to college, you know, is fucking a net positive in the long run. I think in a lot of ways our society has glorified college to be like this end-all, be-all thing for people's lives, but it's pretty clearly not, you know what I mean? There's a lot of, like, more financially savvy ways in which to invest, you know, in your future at a young age. In some ways, I feel like, especially in, like, your 20s and stuff, you can be very intelligent on how you kind of approach things. And yeah, sometimes college is actually like not the greatest answer. There's so many members in the chat right now. Almost everyone has a green name. Awesome, guys. Love listening to Joel every night. My brain has grown so accustomed to where I need it to be. Nice. Mr. Gucci, good to see ya. Yeah, only feet greater than university, exactly. Following my footsteps. The benefit of college is socialization. Yeah, I agree, but the cool thing is like, there's really nothing stopping you from, like, moving to that exact town, or wherever the college is, and then just working at a bar, you know, as a server, or a bartender, or bar back, or whatever, a door guy. You don't have to be exactly in a bar, but I mean, just, like, you can still be a young person that socializes and does all this other shit without, you know, the pressures of, having a fucking exam at 8 in the morning and you stayed up till 5 drinking like an idiot, like some college kids do, and they're like, yeah, my sophomore year was pretty much just completely fucked. You know, there's just so many people I've known that where they just, like, I can't imagine ever making a decision like that where you have so much money riding on the line, you know what I mean? And you just decide to make the worst decision and just party for one night of, like, a shitty hangover and probably, like, a regrettable decision. And, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. You live and you learn, but then you also, I mean, there's a few things that comes out of college. It's like really bad debt and sometimes a drinking problem that you don't even realize that you have, where for whatever reason you go home every night and pick up a fucking 12-pack of Natty Light, bro. Toasty Comfy Ghosty, thank you for the gift. To Christine Baker, thank you. And Girl Veteran, thank you for gifting a membership to Alexander 2410 FCB. My cousin was a busboy, and damn, it was really good for him. Yeah, you know, I mean, sometimes you flunked due to undiagnosed ADHD. Yeah, sometimes, I mean, university is really a big jump, obviously, from high school, and, you know, not all the universities are going to sit there and hold your hand. I'm not saying, not you specifically, but I'm just saying, like, it's a huge jump in, you know, having the necessary skills to succeed. And not everyone is going to be on board with that. It's not for everyone. And, you know, sometimes you have to go be a race car driver or something. I don't know. You didn't go to college till you're 23 when it's your own money you're spending, you take it seriously. Exactly, yeah. And that's the thing too, is like a lot of people, like, they get, you know, their parents to co-sign these huge loans. But like when you're young and the only amount of money that you've ever had in your bank account was like at most a couple $100 because you worked some shifts at the fucking pet store, you know what I mean? Like, or whatever. Or you were a bus boy at the, you know, Pancake Plaza or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, that's cool and shit. But when you're taking out loans for like tens of thousands of dollars so you can pay for your like rent and your living expenses and all the other things that colleges nickel and dime you for, like especially whenever like professors have like a book that you need to buy. Like the fact that like every college just doesn't give you like all your books on your iPhone or an iPad. I'm sure they do. I'm sure there's like PDF ways to download that and then essentially just not charge you, you know? But you just don't have any concept in your head of how much money that is. So, but you do have a concept of what it is to have fun and go fuck around, you know what I mean? So like, and then you're also very prone to just being like, fuck it, dude. I'm just gonna boobity bee and go, you know, float down a river and drink some Michelobes. Which is fine, I guess. But like, you know, whenever those loans eventually kick in, and you're paying, and you all of a sudden you have to pay $700 to $1,200 a month, like that's where the reality comes in. You're like, holy fuck. And then you look at like how long it's taking you to pay them off, and you're like, I haven't even made like a fucking dent. I'm still paying like the interest for, I don't know. I'm telling your life story. I'm sorry, yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so many people get, like, funneled down that fucking pathway because it's, you know, conventional. It's normal. But that's not everybody's story. And I think the more people can escape from that sort of conventional lifestyle, understanding the importance of, like, financial freedom, especially if what, you know, like, I have friends that went to college. And the whole time, from the time they were 18, they worked at this bar. You know, just imagine it's called This Bar. They worked at this bar as this position, and now they're in their 30s, and they still work at this bar at this position. And that's not a bad thing because you can make some pretty good money, but imagine how much more financially freer they would feel if they didn't have fucking $60,000 in student loan debt for, you know, poop eating school that's now constantly scratching at the back of their head like a fucking tumor. But I have actually heard from some certain data collectors that general enrollment towards certain schools seems to be going down like 7 to 9% as time goes on. So I don't know. I feel like the value of school is slowly losing its... Well, I mean, that's the thing, too, is you can get out of school with whatever degree and just, like, not be able to get a job, too. So it's just all a fucking scam. All right, we're moving on. I went to college in a historic mid-sized city. Fuck, I got a burp. Common underwater basket weaving W. It's not a tumor. It's my college degree. It's my debt. I need you to pay it off. Come on, pay it now. Do it. Pay it. Pay for my college and my poor decisions that I made. You do it. You're the one making money. You deserve to pay it. Come on. Do it. I went to a college in a historic mid-sized city in Florida and at the time lived in a duplex downtown, maybe 3 blocks from campus. The city is known to be pretty safe, and I lived in a pretty decent... The city is known to be pretty safe, and I lived in a pretty decent area with a large historic homes near me. Fuck, man. The city is known to be pretty safe, and I lived in a pretty decent area with large historic homes near me, and this story takes place around 3 years ago. A little backstory that'll become relevant. The duplex that I lived in had a front door that locked, and then both the upstairs and downstairs units had their own locking door. Dude, I'm not finding a rhythm with this fucking story at all. I don't know why. I'm just gonna put it in the chat BBC and everything's just gonna be chat BBC from now on. Fix this grammar. Okay. You feel personally attacked. It's okay. It's okay to feel things, you know? I'm going to marry Chat BBC. I'm going to put a big ring around its thing. And the college money cycle sucks too. High tuition causes people to take out loans, which makes college raise prices even more because the loans are guaranteed. Well, exactly. Like, there's really no incentive that colleges need to really provide you with like a solid product, because until, you know, admission rates start to go down and they start to see like lesser and lesser money coming their way, there's no reason for them to continue to really provide or consolidate, you know, their product. You know, just continue to expand to more and more erroneous degrees while charging higher and higher prices. And, you know, it's all just a weird cycle. Will Castro, holy shizer bizzer, my friend. Thank you for the big 50 buccarinos. Good to see you too. It's been a little while. You're dabbing on him. I'm glad that emoji exists in here. Black to GBT, my favorite site. Man, thank you so much, Will. Appreciate you. What's going on? What is the good news, my friend? We decrease in population. Maybe they will get a great deal when they're at 60. Well, that's a good point too. Yeah, I guess the overall population is slowly starting to decline as well. Less and less people are having children. Like, what do they call that? Like the replacement amount or whatever. David De La Rosa with the 2 says, Jesse, yo, Mr. White, it's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Jesse, get in the car, Jesse, right now. A real weird cycle, like Joel twerking. It's endless. It's just a perfectly looped GIF file. You've jumped in here 5 times. Scary stories are never being read. Is that what I do here? Do I read stories, or is this just... do I just shake my ass all night? Teach you how to play chess or D&D? You know, it could probably come up with a decent D&D campaign, and it'll probably give you some decent chess advice, which my friend who actually plays chess and played it for a while, he says, like, most of your moves should be towards the center, I guess, or something. I don't know. Maybe the cake is not a lie. That's a meme I need to see right now. Oh shit! The cake ain't no lie, cause I'm shaking it. Jesus Christ, another one. And another one. Red-headed stepchild, thank you for the big 50 bonerinos there. Sup? What's up, redhead? What's the good? We're steamrolling tonight. Dang, you guys are kind of going nuts tonight. Thursdays are the night, especially when maybe I should start earlier more often. People can actually show up. Okay, but if someone recognizes you IRL and gives you $30 when you twerk out of pure habit, yeah, usually. If I'm working the door at that bar and there's a $30 cover for some shitty cover band, every time somebody hands it to me, I can't even control it. I'm just like walking to the register, just my ass is just clapping on its own. It just does its own thing. It's autonomous. It's assuming the position. Okay, where was I? The city is known to be pretty safe, and I lived in a pretty decent area with large historic homes near me. This story takes place around 3 years ago. A little backstory that will become relevant: the duplex I lived in had a front door that locked, and then both the upstairs and downstairs units had their own locking door. I lived downstairs and had 2 roommates, but this specific night, only one of my roommates was home. We knew the girls that lived upstairs, but only really spoke to them in passing. When they moved in, we emphasized how important it was to us for them to keep the main front door locked, and they did a good job. What is it? When they moved in, we emphasized that was their first thing. Instead of just like chatting with them, as soon as they saw them, like, make sure you keep that front door locked. Nice to meet you. Keep the fucking door locked. Gina, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Good to see you. I feel like Joel has 7 jobs: nurse by day, YouTuber in the evening, and twerker at night. All night. I do not sleep. My ass does not allow me. It detaches from my body and goes and does its own thing. And David De La Rosa with the 2 says, thank you, Joel. Love you, twerking. Yeah, you're welcome, David. Appreciate you. Say meow. When they moved in, we emphasized how important it was to us for them to keep the main front door locked, and they did a good job of doing so. So my roommates and I are in for the night, knowing the front door is locked, and smoke a few joints. At some point, we hear a knock at the front door and quickly realize the girls upstairs had ordered a pizza. Later on, it becomes evident that they never locked the front door after receiving their pizza. So we finally go to sleep in our rooms, and since I had a queen bed, I would often sleep with my phone and laptop next to me in my bed. A couple of hours after I fell asleep, I woke up to a man standing over my bed. As soon as I realize that I'm not dreaming, I notice that he is quickly moving my phone and computer off my bed and moving for my comfort. Whoops. As soon as oh yeah, there we are. The mental imagery. Krusty Krab pizza. Krusty Krab pizza. Oh yeah, I gotta switch the chat to live chat. For some reason, it's like automatically set to top chat. And I feel like I end up missing out on messages. You think you nailed the interview? Hey, nice. Hey, Jazzy J, take care. Have a great night. How was your night, bro? It was good. We're just cruising, really. As soon as I realize that I'm not dreaming, I notice that he is quickly moving my phone and computer off my bed and moving my comforter, trying to get in to my bed. I start to ask him who he is, what he's doing here, and just generally confused as I was still slightly high from before I went to sleep. The only thing he said to me was, and multiple times, was that, I'm just trying to get in bed. I'm just trying to get in bed. At this point, I begin to panic, as my mind obviously goes to the worst. I was hoping that maybe my roommate had invited some random Tinder guy over and that he had gone to the wrong room, but the more I questioned him, all he had to say was, I'm just trying to get in bed. I own pepper spray and a stun gun, but I had accidentally left them on a shelf that the guy was standing in front of, so there was no way that I would be able to grab them without escalating the situation. Realizing that I need to do something quick, I blurted out, there are 5 people who live in this house. And if you don't get the F out of here now, I'll scream, and they'll all be here within seconds. Luckily, that was all it took to scare him off. I don't know if he had brought something with him or if he had stole something from me, but I saw him grab something in the dark and run out of my room. As soon as he left my room, I shut the door and locked it and tried to find my phone. I couldn't find it anywhere, but then quickly realized that between my room and the front door is the room to my... Oops. Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza. Krusty Krab pizza here. Krusty Krab pizza is the pizza for you and me. I couldn't find it anywhere, but then quickly realized that between my room and the front door is the room of my friend that was home. As scared as I was terrified that the guy had maybe gone into her room. So I grabbed my stun gun and a pocket knife, counting to 3, and ripped open my door. I ran into my roommate's room, and she was fast asleep, and there was no evidence of the guy. I told her what happened, and she asked me if I was sure that I wasn't dreaming. I began to question myself until I walked out of her room and saw that our front door was wide open. I went to my room to search for my phone and finally found it hidden under a pile of clothes across the... Okay, this is where it fucked up. Or not fucked up, but... Pile of clothes. Wait. Now listen up. Here's the story of how I copy-paste ChatGDP into ChatGDP. Fix this grammar. Because only like fixes up to a certain extent and then the post will end. Or not the post, but like the text that it outputs will end. So... have you ever read a story that you hear something, you're just like, yeah, no, I'm good. I think so. I've had some people like, I don't know, they've talked about some just like really controversial opinion type stuff, and I'm like, yeah, whatever, who cares? Either I'll skip their little side bits or whatever, or just skip the story in general. I went to my room to search for my phone and finally found it hidden under a pile of clothes across the room from where I had left it. That sent a chill up my spine, as I immediately knew for a fact that someone had been in my house and room while I was sleeping, and long enough to hide my phone, which only worsened my suspicions of his intentions. I ran back to my roommate's room, who at that point believed me, and we barricaded ourselves into the room and called 911. Within minutes, police cars were swarming our street and yard, and they yelled for us to quickly leave the residence and run towards them. At least a dozen police officers came running in and searched every inch of our apartment, woke up the girls upstairs, and searched their apartment to ensure that the man had left. The officers then had me write a statement, and I gave them a description of the man. To this day, I had never heard a single thing. Jesus, they needed a whole fucking SWAT team for one creepy dude. It seems a little bit of an overkill. Lock and load, boys! This guy's fucking creepy! To this day, I had never heard a single thing about the case. I feel incredibly lucky with the outcome of the situation, but the thought of his intentions terrifies me. Additionally, the fact that he was never caught scares me, as I would hate for anyone else to have to go through the pure fear that I did. I will add that there is a chance that he was on drugs or maybe mentally ill and didn't actually have any bad intentions. However, because he was never caught, I'll never know, and my mind will always assume the worst. David De La Rosa with the two says, who has the best twerk in Joel or Cardi B? Bro, it doesn't even compare. Cardi B doesn't have any... she doesn't have any passion. I put passion into my work, you know? I put heart. It's all about heart. Cardi B's she's doing it for the paycheck at this point. Me, I do it for love of the game. Can you fix the following grammar? I do it for the love of twerking. I do it for the love. I do it just to shake my fucking ass. Yeah. I have apple bottom jeans and boots with the fur, yes. All matching. All denim. Denim fur. Actually wouldn't be too bad, do you think? Like denim boots, but they're kind of like frayed at the end, so they look like the Uggs fur. What are they called? Uggs? Lugs. Bugs. Bugs boots. It's made of bug skin. What even are clothes? They're so silly. Why do people wear them? Take them off. Take off your clothes. Stupid. I had a basset hound named M. I had a basset hound named M. She was sweet and cuddly and firmly believed that everyone knew her and loved her, and she loved them in return. Our daily walks were scattered with brief visits with several neighbors so they could pet and love on her. One evening, I was waiting for a delivery from a food service company that came by every 2 weeks. M loved our regular driver, and he would bring her treats. The truck pulled up in front of the house, and M's demeanor changed. I had never seen her act like this before, and the hair was up on her back, and she was constantly growling. I saw the driver get out of the truck, and it wasn't my regular driver. Her growling got louder. I didn't know what the issue was, but I knew my dog didn't trust him, so neither did I. The driver usually stepped into the house, but not today. I stepped out to the front stoop, but left the front door open and the glass storm door closed. Em was on the other side of the door, baring her teeth and growling. The driver approached, and I heard a whisper, "Don't show him your back." I stayed facing him while... Wait, what? A whisper from who? The dog? Was the dog talking? "Don't show him your back. Don't show him your back." Joel'll stay up in the gym just working on his fitness. He my witness. You're gonna witness this litness test while I shit on this breast. No, that's not right. Don't write that down. That's not a good lyric. Joel becomes high fashion. Every day I wake up and I think about what kind of cool clothes I can wear to the grocery store. Show off. Show off to the checkout lady. I know she's going to want to see what I'm wearing today. Ooh, I see you're wearing denim shoes with little frills at the end. Very cool. Yes. The dog freaking out. "Don't show your back! Don't show your back!" Okay. The driver approached, and I heard a whisper, "Don't show him your back." I stayed facing him while he told me my driver was on vacation. He asked me if I wanted to see the catalog, and there were some new items that he'd like to show me. My dog was going crazy, and my creeper vibe was going crazy too. I firmly told him that I only wanted my pre-order and that I would look at the new items online. He hesitated several minutes like he didn't know what to do next before finally going back to the truck and bringing my order. He asked if it was heavy and if I wanted him to carry it inside. I said, "No, thank you, just set it down, and my son would take care of it." He set it down, hesitated again, and it was awkward and the silence was deafening, so I said, "I believe it was prepaid." And he replied, "Yes, of course." He stood there for a moment more, but I was not turning to go, and he stood there for a moment more, but I was not turning to go inside until he left. He finally turned and went to the truck and left. Instantly, my happy dog was back, and I opened the door to find my 12-year-old son hiding against the wall next to the door with the largest knife from my kitchen. I gave him a questioning look, and he said, "Em said he's dangerous, and I was going to be ready if he tried anything." It seems that he trusted his dog, too. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Fucking the lady who hears voices in her head and just literally is going based off of an insane dog, the ever-changing, day-to-day varying emotions of a fucking dog and a mailman, you know what I mean? Same with the son. He just has a knife ready to rock and roll. I don't know. My dog never barked until this time. Clearly, the guy who has a government-paid job wants to fucking cut my head off. Guaranteed. Oh, the voice was her son? Oh, okay. I thought she was hearing voices in her head. Like she was indicating like a voice, like an instinct. Sha, pocket knife. The son comes out of nowhere, jumps over, and just starts stabbing the guy to death. Oh, God! Ah! My dog doesn't like you! My dog doesn't like you! And the dog's just like, yeah, get him. Get him, fuck yeah. That guy's bad. That guy's bad. I barked at him. He's bad. He deserves to die. Okay. Have I ever read a story that I know isn't real? Probably. I mean, pretty much, if you guys think it's a little sus, I probably think it's a little sussy baka too. This happened a long time ago, about 10 years or so, but I never forgot about it and it still gives me chills. I, a 33-year-old female, was in my early 20s at the time. At the time, I had a female dog named Nina, a boxer. She passed away when she was 8 from lung cancer, and I miss her dearly. Nina was very energetic, so I took her on long walks around the neighborhood, usually at the end of the day at around 4 to 6 p.m. when it was not too hot, but not dark either. One thing that you must know about Nina is that she loved people. She didn't get along with other dogs, but every time she saw someone walking by us, she would shake her tail and want to get closer and ask for pets. One day, we went on our walk as usual. Everything was fine for the most part. I saw a few other dog tutors walking their dogs and an old couple sitting in front of their house chatting. And then when we were alone, Nina suddenly started growling. One thing I didn't mention, I'm a graduated. Cream roller. Alright. I'm going to put this through chat BBC again. Just because it makes life easier. Fix the following grimoire. Fix the following grimoire. I am a graduated student of the Buttersock cult. You've gone through the council. Okay, I think we can keep going. So of course, I don't... Wait. Where was it? Oh, one thing I... Wait, is that where I was? Sorry. Oh, yeah. One thing I didn't mention is that I graduated in biology and specialized in animal behavior. At the time this story happened, I was finishing college. So yeah, I used to pay a lot of attention to my dog's behaviors and had quite a lot of knowledge about dog behavior because it was my favorite subject in the area. Dogs can see movement much better than us, so Things like eyebrow raising or a little tension on the shoulders, they can easily pick it up. So of course a dog growling doesn't sound that weird. Nina did growl at other dogs and cats when she saw them, but this was different. It was very low and the fur on her back was up. Her entire behavior was of alarm. And then I noticed that she was looking back while growling. So I looked behind me, and in the distance, like blocks away, I saw a man. This made me even more alert because Nina never growled at anyone in the street before. She never stopped walking by my side or tried to pull away, but she kept this low growl and kept looking at this man. I started to freak out and turn the next block. She stopped for a second, but when we reached the next corner, she started growling again. There he was again. He didn't try to talk, call to me, or his expressions were... Wait, why is... He didn't try to talk, call me, or... And his... Oh, okay. He didn't try to talk, call out to me, and his expression was serious, kind of emotionless. I kept walking in random patterns, and he was always still there. That man was definitely following me. At some point, our distances started to shrink, and Nina's growling was getting stronger. So when I turned the next corner, I started running while he couldn't see me. I ran down about 4 blocks in the direction of an area that I knew had more traffic and people around. I stopped to catch my breath and looked behind me. He was far away, right at the corner of where I started running. Just there, standing, clearly staring at me. Nina was looking at him, still with her alarm posture. After a minute, he turned around and went away in the same direction, and at that moment, Nina finally relaxed. I kept paying attention. I kept paying... Anonymous, what's up? I kept paying attention to Nina's behavior the entire way back to my house later, but she was just her normal happy self. I told this story to my parents and a few neighbors, and no one seemed to know of any man that looked like him, and I never saw that guy again, and Nina never behaved like that again either to anyone else, so I'll never know who he was or why he was following me. But I definitely don't regret trusting Nina's instincts. So people, please pay attention to your pet's behaviors as much as you can. It's not about a supernatural sixth sense. They can actually feel, see, and hear things better than us. And there's no behavior that happens for no reason. There's always a reason. Stay safe, everyone. Well, maybe you guys can figure out why. Because, okay, so I've been working out at my buddy's place. He's got like a very professional gym set up, and he always brings out his like 6-month, 7-month-old dogs. You know, they're big though. They're big puppies. I mean, they look like full-grown dogs at that age. You know what I mean? And the one is like a boxer kind of mix, and he's so nice. His name is Axel. And then the other one is sort of more pit bull-esque, is like shorter and more stout with a pit bull face. It's black. And its name is Luna, and Luna hates me. Like Luna, I've never had a dog like really, really dislike me, but like this dog does not like me at all. And I don't know, I can't figure out what it is. I try to be really nice to her and stuff, and I've never, you know what I mean? Like and then whenever I like look away from her and face away, she'll come up and like walk up to me and like sniff my legs and stuff, but anytime I look at her, she just like hates it. She can smell the horny, probably, yeah. I don't know, just strange, because like she was raised, like they got her as like a young puppy, so it's not like she has like a history of any abuse or, you know what I mean, like to associate my face or whatever. Do you pay attention to Axel? Maybe she's jealous. Well, I mean, they're right next to each other. They both are kind of got their collars on right next on a leash or whatever, next to each other. while we're working out and stuff. And I don't know. Axel's always like pretty much like double friendly, like friendly enough for both of them. And then she just, every time I look at her, she, like every time we make eye contact once, she'll bark. She'll and like start, you know, it's just every time, like to the point where it's like ridiculous. And I don't know. I don't know how to like break her shell or make her feel comfortable. Ooh, a dog in a gym. It's not in the gym. It's like we're in a garage that's open, so they're like out. You know what I mean? They're like out in the lead in the driveway. Also, a dog in a gym's not ew. Why would that be ew? If you're in like one of those like bigger powerlifting gyms, like people always bring their dogs in and shit. My cheeks have the effect on women. That's what I was thinking. Maybe she smells my cat and just like has the natural instinct to like hate cats. You know what I mean? Yeah. He knows I'm a furry. He's got it figured out. He wants to rip my fursona apart. My snail self. I got her as a puppy as well. She hates your dad for no reason. Yeah, it's just strange. I don't know if maybe I would be in like their sort of familial setting or whatever. If they would feel more comfortable in like the house. Well, no, even if I would have to like go in to use the bathroom or go into their house or whatever, the dog freaks the fuck out. I don't fucking know. I'm just like, it is what it is. Love to see Joel's reaction to chaos chat. What's chaos chat? How do you get, what is that? How many stories we got? That was story 5 of 15. I've contemplated posting this for years, but the emotional capital of writing this out always feels too heavy. It chills me to this day when I think about what happened, or should I say, could have happened, to my sister and I in 2007. I was 25, she was 23. We were living in Phoenix and living a pretty wild life. Lots of partying. Lots of farting. We were living in Phoenix and living a pretty wild life, lots of partying. However, she could keep it in check. I was a blackout drunk. Now, side note, as of April 20th, I've had 15 years without a drink. We were out with some friends at a party. I was particularly stupid that night and took my friend's car key to go pick up this couple that I had met earlier in the night. They were Eastern European. I forget which country exactly, and needless to say, I was wasted and completely reckless. My sister called me while I was out, all upset because our friend discovered that I took her car. I went back to the party and was promptly screamed at and kicked out, rightfully so. My sister was so embarrassed and crying. She was really intoxicated too, which wasn't a normal thing for her. I remember we were walking to find a taxi or something, and it was all pretty hazy to me. The next thing I know, we're in the back of a car at a gas station on Grand Avenue. This street leads off into an old Arizona interstate highway. The random European couple that I had met earlier and didn't end up picking up were trying to open the door and get us out of the car. They had happened to be at this gas station at probably 1 a.m. I don't even know how they spotted me. They must have sensed the trouble. I have hazy details, but I know that they were frantic and insistent about getting us out of the car. From what they told us, the man driving the car appeared to be a total creep and no one I would seemingly want to associate with. I have no recollection of how we ended up in his car, who he was, or where he was taking us, and why he needed to fill his tank in between. Sometimes I think about the mysterious couple. Maybe they were angels sent to look after us. Both my sister and I were missing our phones the next day, and I'm certain that that man had taken them. There's a number of things that could have happened that night, and I feel very fortunate that we're still alive. It racks me with guilt that I put my little sister in that situation, and any time I feel like picking up a drink, it's one of the memories that I play back to remind myself where alcohol takes me. Grand Ave sucks. Arizona can be sketch. I mean, it makes sense. You're like near, I mean, I don't know how close that is to the border, but it could be human trafficking and that kind of thing. remember I was hearing something about the border recently that, like, of all the people that are crossing the border, 1/3 of the accompanied minors and children or whatever with trying to cross the border, like 1/3 of them have gone missing, which is really fucking sus to me. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that they can be registered and then they just go missing, like, that's like 1/3 of them. Like, that's fucking weird as shit. I'm a 16-year-old female and I work at Chuck E. Cheese's, and about 4 to 5 hours into my shift, this man shows up with 2 little boys. It was fine for a while, but I noticed that he would look at me with a smug face and say, "Hola," every time I walked by. He didn't speak any English, it seemed. I just smiled and kept walking. That alone made me a little uncomfortable, but later on, as I finished cleaning a table and walking past him again, I noticed that he was filming me. I know that he was filming me because he was moving his phone with me as I walked by, with a camera pointed directly at me. He also tried to quickly put away his phone when he realized that I saw what he did. I tried to explain the situation to my managers and coworkers, thinking that they wouldn't let that slide. However, they proceeded to tell me that it wasn't a big deal and to just stay away from him. I tried to stay away, but it seemed that he was following me around, as every time I would turn around, he was right behind me and staring constantly. The only thing that kept me away from him is when I went behind the counter until he left. I think he deserved to be kicked out at the very least, as he was obviously planning something. According to my managers, though, I was just overreacting. But what do you all think? That is really creepy. Jesus. Oh, they're trafficked by smugglers who extort their parents for more cash. Yeah, I mean, it just seems like there's a fucking just absolute, like, whole nother world going on at the border that people are just, like, unaware of and never hear about. It's fucking weird, man. How do I pick the stories? Basically, people will give me permission for them, but in this case, since they're Reddit stories, it's mainly based on points, but I don't know, a lot of the r/creepy encounter stories are not as scary as, like, the let's not meet ones, or, like, not quite as, because a lot of it's more just like this could have happened as opposed to, like, something actually happening. You know, people that almost got traffic phone taken first, and always go with your gut. Don't let anyone ever have authority over whether you can leave work. Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. That is crazy to point out. Yeah, they take your phone first, because that's just like the story with the 23 and 25-year-old sister and brother, how they ended up in the back of that car with, and they didn't have their phones either. Interesting. Humans can be really nasty creatures. It is fucking scary. I mean, just like how many times you just have to count your blessings that you were born somewhere that, like, crazy shit doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like the fucking school bus on, like, a Mexican highway that just gets, like, shot up and, like, set on fire by the cartel just to, like, show another cartel gang that this is their territory or something really weird, and, like, hanging. I don't know if you've seen those pictures where it's like people, like, burnt and then, like, hanging from the fucking highway signs, you know? And then just, like, did you ever see those, like, blue barrels where it's like the blue barrels are just, like, filled with bodies that are, like, slowly just decomposing in there, or being, like, dissolved, and there was just, like, hundreds and hundreds of these barrels just, like, stacked up in these areas. I don't know, it's just shit like that, and you're like, what a fucking absolute nightmare most of, like, being a human is, you know? Most of, like, almost all human experience throughout history, and even right now, is just, like, endless and, like, pointless fucking just murder-filled chaos. Like, it doesn't make any sense, and yet we get upset whenever there's no, like, clean toilet paper. Well, I guess that's kind of important, but I don't know. Do you think it'll ever get better? I don't know. I mean, somebody was saying, like, I've heard this good point, like down in South America, one of the reasons, like, obviously the cartel pretty much runs those governments in a lot of ways, making them extraordinarily corrupt. I mean, imagine running for mayor imagine running for mayor in your local town, and you just like happen to say that you're going to be tough on crime or some shit, you know? Somebody just comes up to you as you're walking to your hotel and just shoots you in the head, you know? No remorse. They never find the guy, and that's the end of you, you know? And that's it. You know, there's no, like, it's, you know, here in the United States, that would be like a big fucking deal. But I feel like down there, it's just like, just part of another fucking day. And somebody was saying basically, eventually, whenever you live in such chaos like that, eventually most of those governments are usually overthrown by their people, because their people are looking for, you know, reprieve from the chaos, you know. But in a lot of ways, other countries are kind of used as sort of a steam valve, you know what I mean, to let off a little bit of steam to kind of like funnel those people towards the, you know, the hope of a better life elsewhere, which I understand. That makes sense to kind of desire that. But unfortunately, because there's never sort of then, you know, a fight back against those corrupted governments, it seems as if though it'll just continue to maintain that level of like just absolute voracious power, you know. And until, I don't know, there's some sort of concerted effort from like the military, from an external country's military, and maybe like somebody who wants to build a fucking hotel somewhere, you're never going to get like a private security or military service to go in there and just fuck shit up so that you can like secure things and create appropriate commerce that occurs there in a safe manner, you know. Because, you know, for the most part, nobody wants to do anything unless they can make money off of it, sadly. Even the good shit. Even the shit that you're sold as being like, oh, this is a humanitarian effort. Most of the time, the humanitarian effort is just to like funnel weapons or something, you know? So it's all nonsense. But, I don't know, maybe there will be at some point some sort of financial incentive to stop the monsters, but I don't know. That's pretty much it, you know. Like a more organized evil is the only way to defeat a less organized evil, really is the only way to... Sadly, that's the reality we live in. When I was about 21 years old, I served tables at a pizza chain restaurant at a new shopping center near where I lived in the evenings and weekends. It was a part-time job for me. I was opening staff at this brand new place, and it was very popular at the time. There were several shifts of employees and a few trainers that came from other locations nearby and stayed to work at the brand new location. One of these cooks' name was... Oh, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna put everything through chat BBC. I don't even care. Fix the following grammar. Wait, no. Wait, no. God damn it. Let's reset it. ChatGPT's cool, but there's just like times where it just doesn't know what the fuck you're talking about. Fix the following grammar. Okay, here we go. Here we go! The cook's name was. What if the cook's name? When I was about 21 years old, I worked as a table server at a pizza chain restaurant located in a new shopping center near my residence on evenings and weekends. It was a part-time job for me. I was part of the opening staff at this brand new place, which was very popular at the time. There were several shifts of employees, and a few trainers came from other nearby locations to work at the brand new location. One of these cooks were named John. He was only a couple of years older than me and worked as a kitchen manager or something similar. Whenever I forgot to ring something in or made a mistake, he was working. Fuck. Whenever I forgot to ring something in or made a mistake and he was working, I'd go back to the kitchen and tell him, and he would often help me or give me extra sauce or whatever was needed. Usually he was doing inventory or paperwork type stuff, like food temp checks, etc. He was always really nice to me, never raised his voice or got angry. He was soft-spoken, a kind of quiet guy. I was engaged at the time and there was no flirting or anything. He was quiet and didn't seem interested in me like that. He just did his job and we'd briefly chat when we worked the same schedule. I quit about 4 to 5 months after opening the restaurant and didn't stay in contact with most of the staff, including him. Now fast forward a month or two after I quit and I was reading a news article. The name in the article was the same as the guy that I had worked with, and he had starved his stepson to death and kept him in a locked closet. I looked it up, and his picture came up, and it was the same guy, and I was completely dumbfounded. He had gotten custody of his ex-girlfriend's child, no blood relation to him, although there was another younger boy in the home who was John's biological child, and I believe a half-brother. He also had a live-in girlfriend who was not related to either child. The boy was like 30 pounds total when he was found at 7 years old. This poor child was made to use a litter box the last few weeks of his life and kept in a small linen closet. And to think, his stepfather was a cook. If there were money issues, he could have easily taken food from the restaurant and no one would have known. Employees got a free meal each shift. He had so many ways to feed this child. He was sentenced to life in prison. I still think of this poor kid who never had a chance, and about the guy who hurt him, who was unassuming, friendly but quiet or shy, capable of a job and... Wait, what? Oh, fuck, yeah, that was a pretty 0 to 100 jump as far as the story goes. Also, Pradeep's down here now. He's in his spot. Jonathan Stuff, take care, my friend. He was sentenced to life in prison, and I still think of this poor kid who never had a chance, and about the guy who hurt him, who was unassuming, friendly but quiet or shy, capable of a job and training others for it. What is wrong with people like him? What made it okay to be like, you deserve this, kid? It still haunts me to this day, how this happened to someone or by something that made an adult. Wait, what? Wait, what? It still haunts me to this day, how this happened to someone or by something that made... Okay. It still haunts me to this day, how this happened to someone or by something that made an adult truly dislike a child enough to do this, and to convince an adult woman of the same, to not get him help. The moral of the story is that you really never can judge a book by its cover. That is crazy. It's just crazy. You could, you know what I mean? You could have been born that fucking kid. Jesus Christ. Just wild. There's just nothing you can do. You're just a defenseless little thing. You know what I mean? And somebody else is just like, you know what? I'm just gonna be a human monster. I'm gonna be an actual devil beast and just fucking... I don't know. these stories impact my life? Well, pretty much just to the reflection that I just did, you know? But I try not to dwell on them too much, you know what I mean? Because, I mean, obviously there's going to be certain things that subconsciously stick with me in the same way that they might stick with you. But I don't know, I feel like it's kind of like the same as like reading the news, you know what I mean? Like when you read the news, you read about all sorts of terrible things, and you sort of internalize that and then basically just turn it into indirect experience where you're just like, well, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to end up like that person. So then you just kind of conduct your life in a manner in which that opposes that level of darkness or naivety. Yeah, I walk around in a daze 24/7, 1,000-yard stare. What happened to that guy? I heard he got on Reddit. He runs a scary story YouTube channel. Oh no. Oh no. Poor guy. Quick, somebody go rob him while he's dazed. This happened a few years ago, and it still rattles me when I think about it. For context, I am a female who was around 25 years old at the time. I worked in an office of around 150 people. One day I received an email from a coworker whose name I didn't recognize, and the email basically said something along the lines of, "I'm sorry if I did something to offend you. Given the situation, if you'd prefer never to see me again, I understand and will avoid you in the kitchen." I was extremely perplexed as I had no idea who this guy was, but I must have done something to offend him, right? I responded back along the lines of, "I'm so sorry if I offended you. Sometimes I zone out, and it can be perceived as if though I'm rude, so I do apologize." After this response, he started getting irritated, basically denying my apology and acting all passive-aggressive about it. I wish I had kept a screenshot of those emails, but basically he was just confusing me with this misunderstanding, so I sent him a message suggesting that we resolve this in person. Big mistake. He agreed to meet me in the kitchen in the office. I went there and immediately saw a tall, 30-ish-year-old guy whom I had seen around but never met before. I explained to him that I apologized, but I truly had no idea who he was, had never met him before, and didn't want any issues. What happened after... What happened after? Miss Molly with 5 says, "Joel, my love, how are you? I'm doing pretty well tonight. Tired, but good. No big life updates, just here, queer, and alive. Love you." Thank you, Miss Molly. Love you too. Is the tattoo fully absorbed? I don't know. I don't know what tattoos do. I assume they absorb. Kind of like a bit of a sort of a gelatinous film. That'd be kind of sick. They should make like henna tattoos that they can just like put on your body, and instead of having to go through the grueling pain of like digging it into your skin by zapping it or whatever it is they do, you kind of peel it off and it's like painless, but it slowly absorbs over time and doesn't like leave your skin ever, forever. But thank you, Miss Molly. Good to see you. Laritza, good to see you. How are you? Still itchy a little bit, besides the healing is great overall. Okay, that's good. You've got the itches. She's itching for a scritchin'. Miss Molly, do you still watch Markiplier? Has he come out with any sick tapes lately? Oh yeah, somebody said he's working on a movie. A schmovie. Wisconsin, or no, R-Y, are we? With a 5 says, "I can't stop laughing over the passionate twerking. I'm trying to lift weights here, Joel. Goddamn, I'm sorry." But hey, there are many ways to. Perhaps you could place a dumbbell between the cheeks, and that's how I got my twerking so strong. Just in case you need any ideas. I'm the man. But thank you for the 5. And best luck with your pump. Get that pump. And remember, this is one thing I wanted to, whenever I start the gym, I wanted to make these shirts that say, fail to grow. Maybe like fail to grow. Like fail number 2, then grow. But you don't always need to go to failure, but usually that sense of progressive overload, which sometimes leads to failure, is how one must grow. And Lynn with the 2 says, love supporting you and my fellow butter socks. Ooh, woo, ooh, woo, ooh, woo. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. Also, Lynn, is that your dog on the profile picture? Who's that dog? I feel like I've never heard about that dog before. And Katie Arvia with the 5 critical hit. Thank you, Katie. Thank you. And West Max Roofing Incorporated with the big 20 buccarinos says, you the man, Joel. Colt Rand says hi. Well, hello, Colt Rand. What's going on? Thank you for the big 20 buccaloonies. Appreciate you. Ooh. You failed to grow. That's why you're short. You needed to fail more. You needed to fail even more. Dude, when I lift, it's great. I gain muscle fast, so that's good. Yeah, you guys, as long as you get lots and lots of food. I don't know. I'm excited. Once I reach my goal cut weight, which I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but it's definitely, I'm hoping to get sub 200. It's going to take a while, but once I get sub 200, I hope to go back on the bulking phase, but more of a clean bulking phase, mainly just incorporating more rice into the equation, and I hope to see some sick gains, bruh. You were born lacking growth hormone. Fuck. What's my fave day to live stream? I feel like this one's pretty good. Thursdays. Because then tomorrow's Friday. And then it's the weekend. Yippee! What happened after made me very concerned. His face flushed bright red and he looked visibly angry. Wait, what? I explained to him that I apologized, but I truthfully had no idea who he was, had never met him before, and didn't want any issues. Wait, fuck. Okay, yeah. Sorry. I saw this one guy, I think it was on Twitter or something, but he was saying that it was just scrolled past it, but he was saying that it's disgusting to let your dog sleep with you. And he was referencing some stupid fucking article or whatever, saying that they could lead to mange and Lyme's disease. And it's yeah, if your dog has mange and if they're covered in ticks and you don't check them, I don't know, it just seemed like it was one of those people that just likes to have a angry opinion, just to have an angry opinion about something, just to create some sort of controversy amidst the spitter spatter of Twitter, And I almost thought of responding saying, yes, I grew up with dogs and I was riddled with mange every night. And Katie Arvia, thank you with the 2. Appreciate you. Do you have a weekend, Joel, or do you work on Saturdays too? I mean, there's some stuff I do. I mean, with YouTube, it's weird. It's you just always have little things to kind of keep track of, I guess. But it's not bad, It's not bad stuff. But I mean, Saturday, I might be hanging out with my mom that day, I think, or my friends. They wanted to go to the range and try one friend's new firearm, which I thought would be fun. But also, I've been having a friend who runs the Clips channel, which you haven't subscribed to Let's Read Clips. Please do so. But anyways, he goes to backstage.com and helps find me, like, you know, auditions to try for. So some of the ones that I apply for, like, require an actual voice audition to go along with it. So I've been doing that a little bit on Saturdays. It doesn't take very long, but, you know, I don't know. I kind of enjoy always having, like, a little bit of something to do for you know, quote-unquote work. Just because when I don't, you know, you sort of... I don't know, I feel like humans are kind of just geared towards productivity in some ways. When I'm not doing stuff, I just feel very bored lately, you know? I just feel like typical things that entertained me in the past don't really entertain me quite the same. I sleep on Pradeep's bed, yeah. I curl into a little ball. Hey, smell that? It smells like mange. What happened after made me very concerned. Fuck, I feel like I keep losing track of where I am because I highlighted the wrong part. Alright, here we go. I explained to him that I apologize, but truthfully had no idea who he was, and had never even met him before and didn't want any issues. What happened after made me very concerned. His face flushed bright red and he looked visibly angry. He was stuttering and denying that I didn't know who he was, and then he said, "You've been staring at me for months. When you made eye contact with me, you gasped and ran away." Okay. This was weird. I strongly denied this and told him that it was a mistake, but he kept insisting that I had been staring at him for months and that he could always see me doing it. Eventually, I realized that he couldn't see reason and decided to just end the conversation. Upon reflection, I realized that it's possible that he thought that I was staring at him because when you walk in the hallway next to the kitchen, there is a room with glass at the end where a bunch of desks are. His desk would be right in line of sight if I was walking down the hallway and had a funny sticker on his desk I'd sometimes look at, but this seems like a huge stretch. After this incident, a coworker pulled me over and asked me why I was talking to him, and I explained the situation. She looked scared and told me that last year he appeared in the office in a bathrobe, raving like some madman at people, and he wasn't fired then. Was I dealing with someone in the midst of a psychosis? Was he dangerous? No clue, but I reported this ASAP to my manager, who took it seriously enough to tell his manager. Oops. Wraps himself around the cat tower like a serpent and slumbers, waiting for the pestilence to consume him. This is what happens when you let a dog sleep in your bed. No clue, but I reported this ASAP to my manager, who took it seriously enough to tell his manager. I don't think he works there anymore, and thankfully I left this company 2 weeks later because I was extra cautious to not go anywhere near this dude. This dude. Oh, dude, I'm excited for the new Zelda. I like the idea. Like, I didn't really play the first one, so I feel like I'm gonna get to experience in entirety the good parts of the first one with some refined natures to it. And then, like, the idea of, like, fucking putting together little contraptions and shit to, like, solve, I don't know, puzzles or whatever the fuck. That just seems really cool. I'm glad they added that. I don't know, it just seems like a silly, fun thing. Which is, you can kind of imagine, too, whenever they come out with the new Super Smash Brothers, which I hope they just keep making those forever. They're probably going to have a Zelda that, like, makes little contraptions and throws them at you. Maybe not. Or maybe that'll be his ultimate, if they still do ultimates. I don't know if they do or not, but... My pupper ripped her bed to shreds within 1 week. She sleeps on top of me now. Now she's gonna rip you apart, probably. You never know. Did you ever play Hogwarts Legacy? You know, I never did. I watched others play it, and it looked fun. I do enjoy those kind of like high fantasy style setting games. But the fact that you can go up in the clouds in this new game, I know, it's really, really cool. Story 8 of 5. Yes. Or 8 of 15, sorry. I thought I'd share my experience in case anyone's been through something similar or has an idea of what kind of scenario I was dealing with. I was driving home from the gym at night and pulled up to a red light near a local courthouse. I noticed the driver of a white Jeep 1 lane over staring at me. Older guy, I guess late 40s to 50s with long sideburns. I'm a 31-year-old male, through without. Whoops. You just had a crisis playing Disco Elysium? What do you mean? I'm a 31-year-old male, though without additional context I have no idea if this matters. I turned and looked at him, and he started pointing toward me and towards my left. At first I thought he wanted me to... At first, I thought he wanted to cut in front of me when the light turned green, which is strange because there was no one coming behind us imminently. At first, I thought that he wanted to cut in front of me when the light turned green, which is strange because there was no one coming behind us imminently, so he could have just waited for me to go. But I guess someone else might pull up. I pointed to my left to confirm that's what he wanted, and then opened my window a tiny bit because he just kept pointing, so I wanted to ask what was up. He didn't open his. The light turned green and he changed lanes to drive behind me. It feels likely that he was trying to tell me to pull over earlier. I kept driving and changed lanes because he was now tailgating me and followed me immediately. Eventually he switched lanes but was driving erratically, kept putting his left turn signal on but not turning left at several lights, for example. He also slowed down to maintain the same pace as me a few times. Eventually I turned before my actual home route to throw him off. He kept going, but then when I looped around to actually head home, I saw him at the light waiting to turn left on the road towards my house, so I had to keep driving. I have no idea what his intentions were, but that was so incredibly strange and unnerving, to say the least. Hogwarts, Star Wars, Dead Island. Yeah, Hogwarts was actually functional. It sounds as, I guess Dead Island, the new one, was pretty functional too, but I heard the new Star Wars one had some really rough issues with optimization or whatever. I gotta clip Pradeep's toenails. He's starting to bite them. Once upon a time, let's read live. The end. The end. Oh, whoops. Did I really? Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I picked like the same story for some reason. Fuck. Do we read one from the Lay subreddit? Let's see, top ones from this week. Weird story. Well, yeah, we'll just read that one, I guess. I don't know. Sorry. I accidentally brought up the exact same story for the next one, so we'll have to just get rid of that and get a new one. Okay, we're good. You have a dog named Zelda? That's awesome. midnight release at GameStop. Do they still do that? That's kind of awesome. Dude, midnight releases at GameStop and all those kind of places is always such a fun experience. A few days ago, my girlfriend and I, were in our young 20s, were on a home stretch of a big road trip with our dog. As it had been a while since we last stopped, we pulled into a rest stop off the freeway to stretch the legs and let the doggo do his thing. When we pulled into the rest stop, there were no cars and 3 big semi-trucks parked in a line. Immediately, my girlfriend got out to go into the restroom. I leashed up the dog and stood next to the car, and as she was walking towards the entry door, I thought that I heard someone yell behind me. To my surprise, it was a trucker in the driver's seat of his truck with the window rolled down trying to get my attention. Now, I am generally pretty friendly towards all people, whether they seem shady or not, generally willing to help a hand. Help a hand. Now, I am generally friendly towards all people, whether they seem shady or not, generally willing to lend a helping hand. Behind me in the truck was an older gentleman, large with gray hair and sunglasses. His truck was so loud that I couldn't hear what he was saying, so I yelled back, "What?" The trucker yelled something inaudible 3 more times, and I asked him what, while shaking my head and holding up my hands to inform him that I couldn't hear him. At this point, he seemed visually annoyed that I said what 4 times. Okay, that might be understandable. I wanted to see what the deal was with this guy, so I walked halfway between the car and his passenger side truck. "What did you say?" I asked. "Can you help me look for my phone? I lost it somewhere," the trucker said. At this point, I was super caught off guard, as this had all unfolded within the 20 to 30 seconds that we parked at the rest stop. To me, it was weird that a trucker was asking a random person stopping at a rest stop to help look for their phone, but maybe he just wanted me to call it. "Where'd you lose it at?" I asked. "I lost it in my truck. Can you just come up here and help me look for it?" The trucker replied in an unnerving tone. In that moment, I was just incredibly sketched out. I thought I was about to be abducted. Phone call I could do, but no way was I about to get into this trucker's cab to look for his phone. "Yeah, no," I said sternly, but half-heartedly, as I almost thought that this guy was joking with me. After a few moments, the trucker then says, "You won't help me look for it?" My adrenaline was pumping, so I yelled back, "You know what, why don't you just get out of here?" in a threatening tone, knowing well that I had nothing to defend us should something go wrong. I put the doggo back into the car and pulled out my phone to pretend that I was calling the cops while he slowly drove and then stopped again to ask if I was going to help. I then screamed again, "No, get the F out of here, I'm calling the cops." And after that reply, he stepped on the gas and just exited to the freeway. I stood and watched when finally my girlfriend exited the rest stop, wondering why I looked like I just saw a ghost. Now, I don't know if this was an overreaction, but it sketched me out that he had to ask me to climb into the truck. Congrats on 1,000,000. Popping my head in to say that. Go Butters. Good night, Buttersalt Cole. Thank you, Waffle Plays. Good to see you. Appreciate you. Yeah, hopefully I'll get the plaque soon. I ordered that a little while ago. Been listening to this around 2017. Crazy how time flies. Glad to see you never stop reading these stories. Congratulations on 1,000,000 subs. Thank you, Samurai. I appreciate you. GameStop has issues. Yeah, I heard that they were... It seems like everything's just kind of on the decline. Like, we're officially in like a pretty bad recession now, and I don't know. There's just all of those particular stores that, I don't know, that just have too much overhead with not enough income. Maybe they should have started giving people at least 30 cents for their games instead of 20 cents. That would have kept people around. Hello from Santa Cruz, California. Hello. Do you actually have to pay to get your plaque? No, I don't. No, it's free, thankfully. I would pay. I definitely would pay to get it, but yeah. Okay. Mission start. Fuck it. I'm just gonna ask ChatGPT to do all my grammar. Fix this grammar, please. Oh my gosh. Bonic assume. Physical media is generally going obsolete, it seems. Yeah, I mean, it definitely has its place for sure, depending on what it is, but I guess at this point it's mainly just for, like, collectors. Ever heard of Grammarly? I have heard of Grammarly, but ChatGPT seems to do that, honestly, really well. I just type fix this grammar, and then I type it, and it's like, okay, 1 second. It's like, what did I just crack? Just that was my balls. Many years ago, I left an abusive relationship and moved across the country with my cat, Onyx. The apartment I found was a bit run down and located in a sketchy area, but it was all I could afford at the time. One night when I returned from the grocery store, I couldn't find Onyx anywhere. She usually greeted me at the door, but this time she was nowhere to be seen. I looked all over the apartment, crying, but there was no sign of her. It was like she had just disappeared into thin air. For an entire week, I searched for her and put up missing posters all over the neighborhood, but by the end of the 7th day, I had lost hope of finding her. The next morning, when I returned from my daily walk, I found my door slightly ajar. I cautiously entered the apartment and saw Onyx sleeping on my couch. I was overjoyed to see her again, but then a sick feeling of horror washed over me. I immediately called the police and my landlord, Jim. The police filed a report, but the perpetrator had left no evidence behind. My apartment had no cameras, and Jim admitted that he had forgotten to change the locks when I moved in. When one of the officers asked if the previous tenant could have been responsible, Jim said that he didn't think so. My apartment had been vacant for a year, and the previous tenant was a single mom who had left early to take a pretty good job opportunity in another city. The incident scared me so much that I decided to just leave the apartment. I'm in a better place now, but I still think about how weird that situation was. You used to want a cat named Onyx? I mean, that is really creepy, actually. Someone just, like, taking your cat and then, like, bringing it back. I cracked my fat checks. You know, I really do hope that Zelda works well, though, because, like, Nintendo's the only game company I feel like recently that has, like, a reputation for just, like, not releasing, like, janky-ass games. Even though I did hear that the, Pokemon game was pretty janky. I don't know if they ended up fixing all that. I have been living here for 4 years now. During my first year, a man approached me while I was getting groceries out of my trunk and asked for money. As a gesture, I gave him a garbage bag full of cans because I had at least 10 such bags in my basement, and I also gave him a pair of gloves for the winter weather. A few days later, he knocked on my door again and asked for money, but this time he offered me a silver cat statue as an act of kindness. I declined, but gave him some spare change. About a month later, he returned and knocked on my door at 2 a.m. I was asleep on the couch and ignored him, knowing it was him and that I had to wake up at 5 a.m. for work. A week later, he came back again at 2 a.m., and I was angry this time. I told him to get off my property and to not come back. Not come. Do not come. Do not come. I'm gonna come. A week later, he came back again at 2 a.m. and was angry this time. I told him to get off my property and to not come back because I didn't appreciate him showing up and bothering me. Now, about 2 weeks later, he showed up on a Saturday at around 11 p.m. I told him to wait while I got out of the shower and called the police, explaining the situation and how he had been at my house numerous times despite my request for him to leave. 2 police cars arrived about 5 minutes later and the man ran off up the road. About 10 minutes later, one of the guys started twerking, baby. Shit. Oh, God. Ree with the 30s says, hope everyone has a good night and a great weekend. Thank you, Ree. What are you up to? What are you scheming on? What's your plan? But thank you for the 30. Appreciate you. If the have a good weekend means you're out of here, I hope you have the best weekend and you do something that you never otherwise would have ever wanted to do. Two police cars arrived about 5 minutes later and the man ran off up the road. About 10 minutes later, one of the officers returned and told me they caught up with him. The man had an outstanding warrant for failing to report and multiple priors for breaking and entering. After that incident, I bought a handgun and learned not to be so trusting. In the ghetto. Man, we are kind of burning through these. Might have to get more, to be honest with you. More! How am I burning through these so fast? That's crazy. Twerking ain't easy. It's the weekend? Oh, it's Friday, so you have Tuesday off. There you go. 2-minute stories. Be right back. Poop screen, please. Is that how we... Do you have to poop, or are you telling me to go poop? Smash that like button or I'll smash your ribs. I work weekends. A Friday means nothing to me other than busy dinner rush. That's true. Rehab night, Casey. What do you mean, rehab? Oh, for like... Well, I remember you mentioned drinking, so I'm like, there's no way you went from one night of drinking right to rehab. So many nights of peaceful sleep. You're welcome, Stone. Good to see you. And Nikki, thank you for joining the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Dude, I'm excited. I'm just excited to get feedback on that philosophy video because I think you guys will like it. It's like one of those videos that I think will be worth listening to like multiple times, you know, before you start your day or your drive or whatever it might be. It just is one of those ones that you're able to pull a lot of good out of it many times. Am I still putting stuff on chilling? I currently don't work for chilling at this moment. I've taken a break from producing chilling content, though I do wish well upon the company and everything like that. I was just kind of so busy with my schedule that I just didn't have time. But it's still a very good application. It's on Zoom and I don't want to get addicted, so I've been going to rehab. But don't you have to like be addicted, like in a compromised drinking position to end up in like rehab? Or you're doing a prehab, like a preventative alcoholism or something. You could sell a variation of the poop screen on merch. I think so, but yeah, we could do a variation. I asked Robin about that. He said that picture that he uses in that was not an original picture, so he didn't want to tell you that I took an IT course for 3 years, and if my GPA is a 2.7, then I can progress higher. Hey, there you go. That's cool. Do I have a Patreon? I do, yeah. The Patreon tiers over there is the $1 one gets you early access to all the new audio before everybody else. And then the $5 one is the bonus content. But the bonus content $5 one is the same as being a member over here on YouTube. But unfortunately with YouTube I can only provide bonus content, as YouTube doesn't allow you to like just post only audio stuff, which is like way faster, you know. In the ghetto. Okay. This is the story of the weirdest job interview I've ever had. It happened sometime after February 2018 when my brother's community college was having a job fair. I went there with my resumes, hoping to find a good opportunity. At the fair, we found a table of a company that works with entertainment contracts or something like that. When I handed the guy my resume, he barely glanced at it, but immediately scheduled an interview with me. At that time, I was struggling with mental health issues and it showed on me physically. However, I agreed to the interview. Before the interview, I did some research on the company and found out that they had a very basic website and literally no social media presence. The interview was scheduled at a random building near the freeway. When I arrived, there was no parking available, so I had to park in the neighborhood and walk to the building. I met a friendly guy in his mid-40s who helped me find my way to the floor that I was supposed to be on. However, when I returned to my car to get my resume, I saw the same guy just standing by the window, looking lost. When I finally reached the front desk, I met a very thin blonde girl who interviewed me, and I couldn't help but notice how skinny she was. The whole office was decorated with cheap decorations that I recognized from Target. During the interview, they revealed that they were just handing out Obama phones on the streets, which was not what they had advertised at the job fair. The next week, they scheduled another interview for me, and I met the same old guy who was now conducting the interview. The front desk was now occupied by a young woman who was also unnaturally skinny. The interviewer this time was a young guy in his early 20s, wearing a suit that was 2 sizes too big for him. And something felt off, and I decided to just bail out. The whole experience was strange and left me with many questions. I even emailed the community college about it, but they couldn't do much about it, really. And it made me wonder how many other students had fallen for this supposed scam. What was their exact goal? Why were all the female staff so thin, and why did the company have no real social media footprint? I'm still worried about this to this day. I guess what it's called, and I have a question, but I don't know if I should, but I need some advice if I should, but I probably shouldn't, but okay, cut to the chase. Should I try shrooms? I want to. I don't know, Casey. I mean, I'm just, I don't even know who you are. I know who you are in this context, to a limited capacity. But I mean, if you're in a current position where you're like in rehab or something, it's probably best to just avoid all, mind-altering substances for quite a while, I don't know, man. I would advise perhaps against it. Alright, so this is the last story, but I don't know. I feel like we blasted through this ish way too fast. I'm going to ask ChatGPT something. If I give you links to a website, can you tell me how many words are in each story? As an AI, I can analyze text of a website, provide you with a word count of each story. However, please note that there may be limitations to the number of web pages I can analyze, and the speed of the analysis may vary depending on the size and complexity of the site. Please provide me with links, and I'll do my best. Interesting. Actually, forget about that. Let's fix the following grammar. .5, so it's normal stream length. Yeah, I guess you're right. That is about normal. Usually I go based on stream length and how long it took me to get to that point for anticipation of how long the video is actually going to be. But maybe because the grammar was being fixed tonight, maybe that, and I didn't go on too many tangents, I don't think. Wait, was this only story 13 of 15? Really? Stone Smith, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. My friend, you now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Stone. Good to see you. And like I said, yeah, the new bonus stuff will be out this Saturday, and then you should get a notification when it releases as a member, but if you don't, you should follow me on social media at Let's Read Creepy on Twitter, at letsread.official on Instagram, and then I'll let people know that the bonus content is out over there. Dan the Man with a 2 says, Dan the Man is back, baby. Let's go. We've been waiting, Dan, for your arrival. We have prophesied about it. Make sure to use a professional psychedelic guide to help you stay grounded and on hold healing space. Don't go it alone. Yeah, I don't know, I don't know. I've heard, and this is just this is unrelated, but if anybody has any sort of pre-existing mental health issues, that psychedelics kind of end up exacerbating those mental health issues. So maybe it's best to not take medication or whatever it might be that could make those mental health issues potentially worse. And I'm not saying that you have those. I'm just saying that it could be a scenario in which it brings out a negative thing. You know what I mean? You got accepted into vet school. Nice. That's awesome. Congrats. Oh, Lynn, no worries. I'll double check and make sure we're on the right count, but I might do more after. Maybe I wish there was just a quicker way for me to do a word count. I should probably do that before I even start the stream, to be honest. This incident occurred last year when I was walking to the bus stop, which is just a 2-minute walk from my home. Usually I listen to music on my headphones while walking, and I had just left the apartment building and was doing the same when suddenly a man who appeared to be around 60 years old started calling me. He repeatedly called out, "Girl, girl, hey girl, girl." I was irritated and paused the song that I was listening to, turned to him and asked in a slightly annoyed tone, "What?" He came closer to me and whispered, "Everything is going to be all right," with this unsettling grin. This made me feel extremely uncomfortable, and I checked to see if there was anyone around who could help me if the man did something to me. Unfortunately, there were only 2 grandmas far away from me and the man. I wanted to know what he meant by his words, but my instinct told me to just get away from him as fast as possible, so I started walking fast towards the bus stop. However, the man, who could barely walk before, suddenly started following me, and his pace kept getting faster and faster. I didn't even look back, but I was almost running. I entered a bookshop on the way to the bus stop and looked out the window to see what was happening, and to my horror, I saw the man coming out of the shop, running and searching for me. He checked everywhere, but when he couldn't find me, he just gave up. Now, this experience left me shaken and scared, but I was fortunate enough not to see the man again. I learned to trust my instincts more and not stay in situations that make me feel uncomfortable. As a girl, I've had several such creepy experiences with men, and it's made me very cautious. I always carry a box knife with me, and I keep one in every purse and bag that I own, though using it would take some time as I have to retrieve it from the bag. That's the end of the story. I have to retrieve it from the bag. I always carry a box knife with me, and I keep one in every purse and bag that I own. Thanks, Joel, for the advice. I'll take it because you're right. Thanks, you're the best. Thanks for caring about me. I really appreciate. Yeah, I know that like shrooms are like supposedly like less psychedelic than like LSD or whatever, but still, I've known even people like within my old church and stuff who were prone. They had like mental health issues, and then they would take psychedelics, and then the psychedelics would like enhance and amplify their. I'm not saying that you have them. I'm just saying, like hypothetically, like, but it enhanced their, or amplified rather, their issues, and it just doesn't seem worth it, you know. I have mental health issues, so I don't do anything. Funny though, I'm compliant but resistant. Haven't found anything that works yet. It's been 29 years. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea when it comes to that kind of stuff. As someone who's been to rehab multiple times, man, it's about moderation. Just find your happy medium, and life can be a grand. Yeah, I mean, if it's tough. You know, if somebody has issues in the past, obviously moderation could work, but sometimes it's best just to get away from it, just so you're not tempted to continue to go down a darker path or whatever, or maybe even just the association of whatever substance can lead one to, you know, experiencing a sort of PTSD experience with whatever bad thing happened related to it. But I don't know. Sometimes, I don't know. For me, I never was in that dark position, but I've had a lot of family members who have been in those positions where drugs were their life, and that it fucking sucks to watch, you know what I mean? And at the same time, like, it's not that I don't blame them. It's just that, like, once you're in it, it's just so hard to get out, because it's like food, you know what I mean? It's like, or sugar, but like to the extent that if you don't get it, you'll fucking get the shakes and die. You built a railgun when you were 12? Dude, that's fucking cool. Secure the bag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Well, you're going through that with your cousin. Yeah, I mean, the only thing, yeah. It's just tough, because it creates such a foundation in one's life where they're just, like, not set up for success, you know? If they can break free from it, they can lead a successful life, obviously. It just puts such a fucking damper on everything. It's like setting you, it's like if everyone starts at like 0, after you get addicted to like some really shitty substances, your life might as well be at like negative fucking 15, you know? It just sucks. Question, would you make another song when you hit another million? Just curious. Yeah, maybe. Perhaps. Ever take story requests? You know, I used to back when I first started streaming. I feel like I should read another one though. What kind of requests would you request? She wakes up in the morning. Do. Okay, so next time, there we go. Creep at Disney World. That's decent length. Okay. How many more should we read? 2? Let's read 2 more. What do you say? 2 more decently sized, scurry stories. Scurry. He wakes up in the morning. Have you been banned? No, you're not banned. Where's the video made after the 1 million hit? Can't find it. Yeah, so it's, wait. Where is the video made after the 1 million hit? Can't find it. Yeah, so it should be one of the Reddit ones that has the music video in it, but the, video itself as a solo thing is on my Let's Read Clips channel. Spoiling you tonight. You're very spoiled. Did it hit you with some Dave Matthews? Perhaps. Dave Matthews kind of scares me as like an artist. For some reason, I just imagine I'd go to one of his backstage shows or something, and he seems very handsy. He seems kind of like a handsy guy. I can't wait to get my hands on you. I'm gonna give you a little squeeze in. Okay. In Orlando, Florida, I was staying at a resort in Disney World. I was sitting outside on the steps of the courtyard, and a man approached me. We were the only two people in the vicinity. The man didn't look like a resort guest. I stood up and he began to talk to me. He asked me what my name was, and me being on the spot, I stupidly told him. He smiled creepily. He asked how long I had been staying there, and I told him I didn't know. He continued to talk to me, making me more and more uncomfortable, and I just wanted to go back to my room and hide. I wasn't giving him detailed answers when responding to his questions, but when I'm on the spot like that and someone I don't know asks me a question, I answer somewhat truthfully. I really don't want to answer truthfully, but when it just comes out... Alright, let's put it through fucking chat BBC again, because this shit's fucking... Can't stand fucking shit grammar, even if it's like slightly bad. Maybe that's why we're flying through it so fast tonight. We just like... The grammar has just been fucking saved. I exist in your brain, do I? Let me in. Let me in. Claudius, what's up, dude? Crash into me with your hands and my balls. Yeah. My balls, yeah. I guess hell would kind of be like you're in like a flesh, like a waiting room, but the whole waiting room's made out of flesh. It's kind of gross. And just like in the other, there's like another room, and it's just like Dave Matthews Band playing like muffled in the other room. You don't know what's going on in there, but you're just kind of confused why you're in this disgusting like fleshy monster room, like you're inside some sort of like anal cavity or like a mouth. And you just hear like, you're just stuck there sitting on like a couch made of weird goo. I wasn't giving him detailed answers when responding to his questions, but when I'm on the spot like that and someone I don't know asks me a question, I answer somewhat truthfully. I really don't want to answer truthfully, but when it just comes out, I say it's probably due to anxiety, and I wish I wasn't so honest with random people. If I were to hightail it out of there, he probably wouldn't be able to catch me. The man had graying hair, was tall and muscular, and did not look attractive at all. His questions kept getting weirder, like, "Are your parents here?" And, "What room are you staying in?" Now dusk began to fall, and so many red flags had started to pop up. I'm quite a shy person with people I don't really know anything about, and I tend to give them one-word answers if they ask me any questions. At this point, I wanted to leave very badly. The man got really close and stared into my eyes, making me even more afraid. He was close enough to grab me. Just then, the door leading to the courtyard opened, and I felt scared now. I turned, expecting to see one of the man's friends, but in fact, it was the opposite. It was my amazing great-uncle who came out of the door. Out of all the people staying at the resort, my great-uncle was the one who saved me. The man smiled at him with that same unsettling smile. My great-uncle knew something was up, and so he told me that my parents needed me for something and that I should come with him, and so I did. My uncle held out his hand, and I took it, walking past that creepy man. I shivered as I noticed his eyes following me. My great-uncle asked if I was okay, and I told him I was a bit scared. He asked who that man was, and I told him I didn't know. We were headed to my grandma's room through the vast courtyard. We walked hand in hand on the sidewalk that led to more of the rooms. I kept looking over my shoulder, and the man was still standing at the steps, looking at me and smiling. I believe that my uncle knew what the man's intentions truly were, as did I. The man was probably falling for me, in other words, and he probably was, as my great-uncle put it, a diddler. I'm so Sorry. I just imagine the great-uncle fucking... Yeah, he's probably a fucking diddler. I mean, it's probably accurate, but... Alright. I'm so grateful that my great-uncle was there to save me. This happened on winter break when I was 17, and still am, and I still think about what happened to this day and shiver at the thought of being diddled. I mean, who doesn't? When we got to my grandma's room, I told my parents everything, and they were relieved that I was safe and unharmed, and thankful that my great-uncle spoke up for me. Diddler on the Roof. The old play. We've all loved that play. I still use those terms. I think out of all the terms of modernity, I think diddler's the most useful, I feel like, and should be used more often. Jordan Lockhart, you're welcome. I hope you're having a good time at work. It was the diddlest of times. It was the daddlerest of times. This was my second year at university. Late at night, after hitting the bars, my two roommates and I were heavily intoxicated. An acquaintance asked me if an acquaintance of his could spend the night at our house at his fucking poop. Eat his poop. Eat his poop. Maybe he could eat my poop. Or, no, wait. Okay. Fix this following grammar. Star Wars, the Diddler Strikes Again. Diddly D, don't touch me. Okay. Oh, Aqualung. Did you ever read Goosebumps? Would you ever read a Goosebumps or Scary Stories Until the Dark on the channel? Well, I can't really because it's, like a copyright type scenario. Oh yeah, poll. What kind of poll should we have? Pradeep is looking for pets. Jump up there. Jump up here. No, don't. He just falls over. Floop. Come here. He just always wants me to come to him. Copyright sucks on YouTube. Well, in this situation, it would make sense because, it's R.L. Stein's book. If he wanted me to read one of his, that would be a great honor. But an acquaintance asked me if his friend, who was from out of town and too drunk to drive home, could spend the night at our house. No problem for us, as we considered ourselves stand-up guys with plenty of room and a comfy couch for him to sleep on. Our guest introduced himself, but asked that we call him Bullwinkle, as it was his preferred nickname. No problem, whatever. Before I passed out that evening, my girlfriend stopped by and, we did the thing. She left shortly after. The only reason I mentioned that is that from where Bullwinkle was sleeping, it had to be obvious what was happening. He must have heard us, or at least been aware. Eventually, I passed out in bed alone. Very early in the morning, I was halfway woken to the sensation of something tugging at my underwear. What the fuck? Someone tweet R.L. Stein right now. Get him on the line. Get him on the horn. Before he passes away, we need to read one of his stories. We need to get his explicit permission, or he will haunt me from the grave for copyright infringement. That'd be a Goosebumps title. The copyright strike that never went away. Very early in the morning, I was halfway woken to the sensation of something tugging at my underwear, basically being pulled down in a way that must have exposed my, cock and balls. Fuck. My, what do they call it? Something and beans. Sausage and beans. My tacos and burrito. My junk. I'll just say junk. Very early in the morning, I was halfway woken to the sensation of something tugging at my underwear, basically being pulled down in a way that must have exposed my junk. Half drunk and barely conscious, I sat up and said something like, "What the hell?" I sort of half-registered Bullwinkle, quickly leaving my bedside and quietly throwing himself to the floor, hands over his head. Not being fully conscious, I stared at Bullwinkle lying in a heap on the floor for a while, not fully comprehending the situation, then lay back down for a second. I'm not sure if I went back to sleep, but I was wide awake after I heard the front door slam. Wide awake and finally beginning to comprehend everything, I paced the house for a couple of minutes, checked that the doors were locked, and confirmed that Bullwinkle had left the building, and then I woke up my roommates. My roommates also noticed that their underwear was pulled down, sheets and blankets were pulled back, dresser drawers were left open, and underwear was missing. We talked a bit about what to do. We searched for this Bullwinkle and discussed calling the police, but we rejected that idea partly because of how embarrassing that conversation might be, and partly because none of us were hurt and nothing valuable was taken. I tried calling my acquaintance, but no one answered. So we all went back to bed. No one ever heard from this Bullwinkle again, and his friends say that he just sort of disappeared abruptly. Bullwinkle. My last stream as a single man. Sweet Lord, I heard a voice crack and cock and balls from Joel. My life is made. I got you, Manny. Are you getting married, Manny? Congratulations. The underwear thief, yeah. It was R.L. Stein, a.k.a. Bullwinkle. I just wanted a pair of underwear. I was cold. It looks so warm in there. Though it is kind of sad to think some dude came into their house and borderline groped all of their junk and they were just too embarrassed to tell the cops, Granted, it would be kind of embarrassing, and granted, even now we all kind of giggle at it, but still pretty fucked up that they get away with it like that. SpongeBob or Big Bird? I like SpongeBob more. Big Bird was never entertaining to me as a wee lad. Alright, friends, now we did it. I think we reached the end. Ha ha ha. Hee hee hee. Hoo hoo hoo. Are you feeling it now, Mr. Krabs? Hi, Squidward. Hi, Squidward. Super Deep is in play mode now. He was on a literal panty raid. You were studying, Stephanie? Good. You should be. Alright. Stonesmith with the twos. Can you please recall the scariest stories? Can you please have the scariest stories you recall? Think of the scariest stories. I have no fucking clue. Probably just the one of the steamroller, really. It's the greatest story ever told. The Panty Raid episode is banned. They can't just ban everything. We have to, for posterity's sake, for history, we need the Panty episode. Do you understand? Do you understand, Walt Disney? Do you understand why we need the Panty episode? We need it for the Lost Media YouTube channel. Give it to us. Skids was driving that fucking dozer, dude. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release new videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. EST, and there are super fun live streams on Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursday nights. I'd love to see you there. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. All links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, the dolphin sound F word one? I don't recall. What is that? Remember to lock your drawer up. Panty raid. It's like a big horn. Panty raid. You just hear like an army in the distance. Oh, fuck. Oh, God, guys, they're coming for our panties. Hang tight, fellas. Put your belt buckles on. We're not giving these up. Remember to lock your car doors. If you ain't sneezing, you actually seasoning. If you ain't seasoning, are you actually seasoning? That's a good point. Is this... Remember the panty raid. Remember the panty raid, Mr. Krabs? Mr. Krabs. The pillagers come to the village to steal the panties. That's all they're there for. Nothing else. Just... They're simple. So, like, people make entire, like, makeshift towns with, like, fake, like, straw-stuffed scarecrow women. And, like, fake houses just filled with, like, panties in the drawers to keep these beasts at bay. You thought that was a real trumpet? Damn. I'm pretty good. Oh, the episode where they said the dolphin sounded... Okay, I remember that, actually. That was... See, that's what I don't know. Cartoons were a lot more cheeky. I can't tell if cartoons are getting cheekier or less cheeky. I guess nowadays... I feel like kids don't even watch typical, like, network television anymore. They just kind of watch whatever the fuck YouTubers are making. Which I feel like a lot of the time has some pretty cheeky humor. Hey, night, Jessica. Take care. I gotta think of what to say. I dare you to do a live for 24 hours. I would die. My mouth would get very sore and swell up, and I couldn't even breathe. Hey, I'll say that. Thanks much, friends. And remember, if you ain't sneezing, you ain't seasoning. Which is true. It's a good point. All right, my friends. Thank you again for everything. Love and appreciate you so much. Seriously, it was a ton of support tonight, and I really appreciate you guys being here and just helping me out, making me feel less lonely as I make these stories for you. But I will get them out tomorrow. Well, first over on Patreon, it's only $1 a month for early access there. And then I will go ahead and get it up on YouTube. Same time, same place. 7 p.m. EST today. May 5th. Crazy, May 5th already. What the fuck? One more month and I'll be 33. Holy shit. Jesus dancing Christ. But yeah, and then stay tuned. Follow me on social media at Let's Read Creepy on Twitter, at Let's Read.official on Instagram, and you'll be kept up to date when the new members only bonus content comes out, both for Patreon and YouTube members. It's going to be sick. You're not going to want to miss it. But thank you guys again, and I will be back streaming on Sunday, probably approximately around the same time, 9 or 10 p.m. Hopefully get it going at least around then. Otherwise, I'll keep you updated on social media. Twitter is the best place to follow me at. You can listen to my stupid shit that I say on there. Have a great everything. Wherever you are, just have a great one. All right? All right? Okie dokie? Okay? Okay, goodbye. Goodbye.